This is a world ruled by sharks. They have evolved extraordinary intelligence. Not only do they obey traffic lights when crossing the street, they also round up humans and keep them as livestock. Once thriving cities have become nothing more than their playgrounds. For humans to survive, they must dive into the ruins to scavenge for supplies. But every dive is a dance with death, because lurking in these waters are 7 deep-sea lords. Each one is tens of thousands of meters tall, and each one possesses terrifying special abilities. My family of 3 has been drifting across this ocean since the day I was born. We have no destination, no grand plan. We simply hope to find other survivors somewhere in this vast empty sea. When we're not diving for supplies, our favorite pastime is fishing strange little trinkets up from the deep. But there is one ironclad rule that every survivor must obey. After sundown, you make no sound. None. The moment the alarm rings, everyone must get below deck. Even if you've left food or water outside, you don't hesitate. You go below. Now. Because the deep-sea beasts only come out at night. We huddle in the corner, too afraid to breathe. The only sound is the tick of the clock echoing through the cabin. But little Rita just stares at her small fish tank, too young to understand how serious this is. So she asks her father if she can hold the little fish. The words have barely left her mouth when the boat is slammed by a violent impact. A pack of deep-sea beasts swarms the hull, frantically hunting for the source of the sound. I clamp both hands over my mouth, too terrified to breathe, praying they leave. In moments like this, Dad wraps his arms around us and says they're just curious. A few bumps, and they'll move on. Only when the noise completely fades do I dare speak. I ask Dad if there were this many deep-sea beasts where he used to live. Of course there were, he says. The ocean is full of them. But where he came from, there were also hunters. Warriors who fought back. Hunters stood against the deep-sea beasts and protected their villages. They were the only warriors the ocean had ever known. Then he rolls up his sleeve to reveal the tattoo on his shoulder. This mark, he says, is the hunter's mark. He was one of them. I point at the tattoo and ask what the 6 strange black dots at the bottom are. Those aren't dots, he says. They're stars. We always hide below deck after sunset. I have never once seen the stars. So Dad patiently explains that stars are things that shine, bright enough to see even in the darkest night. Long ago, sailors depended on those stars to navigate the sea and never lose their way, like countless gems set into the night sky, glittering without end. After that harrowing night, the deck is left in ruins. A whole week's worth of food is scattered everywhere, and on the far end of the deck, a massive handprint has been smashed into the planks, as if warning us who truly owns these waters. Dad sighs. Another week of repairs ahead, and the spare parts are running dangerously low. When I hear that, I offer to dive into the ruins and bring some back. Dad grabs my arm, his face dead serious. Absolutely not. Those creatures could be hiding in the ruins. Even in daylight, you are never to go there. I tell him I went once before and came back fine. He rubs his forehead and explains that last time he had already scouted it himself before letting me come along. Then he calls both of us over and makes it clear, until we are grown, we are forbidden from diving to the ruins. I push back hard. I tell him I'm already grown, and I can go wherever I want, and do whatever I choose. While we're arguing, Rita suddenly tugs at us, excited, pointing into the distance. We look, and there it is, Tower Island, rising out of the sea not far away. Rita and I are thrilled. We start shouting toward it at the top of our lungs. A structure like that, there might be survivors inside. But Dad clamps a hand over my mouth. He tells us both to stay on the boat and keep quiet. He draws his weapon and heads to Tower Island to scout ahead. If anything happens to him, he tells us sail away immediately. I see the weapon in his hand and ask if he's planning to fight whoever might be inside. Whether there's a fight depends on whether they're good people or bad ones, he says. Then he leaps into the water and swims toward the island. I watch him grow smaller in the distance, my heart tightening with every stroke. It doesn't take long. Martian reaches Tower Island. He calls out at the entrance, "Is anyone there?" He searches the entire ground floor. Nothing. The only way up to the second floor is a narrow wooden ladder. His expression tightens. If something ambushes him on that ladder, there is no way to dodge. After a long moment, he makes his choice and climbs up carefully. At the top, he finds a door. He doesn't let his guard down for a second. Slowly, he pushes it open. The moment it swings open, he recoils. There are no people here, only skeletons. Meanwhile, back on the boat, Rita and I are still daydreaming about living alongside the people inside Tower Island, when suddenly, we hear a splash nearby. I spin around. It looks like a person thrashing desperately in the water. Back inside, Martian finds no survivors, so he starts searching for anything useful. After some digging, he finds a green crate. Inside are 2 relics from the old world, high explosive charges. Martian frowns. What are artifacts like these doing in a place like this? But what's even stranger is the massive hole in the wall before him. The rebar is bent inward, which means the impact came from outside. He steps up to the opening and finds a massive handprint pressed into the wall, the same as the one left on our boat last night. The realization hits him like a wave. Something is very wrong here. Just then, he hears Rita's voice calling for him from outside. Martian rushes to look toward the boat. Fearing the worst, he swims back immediately. He sees me geared up and demands to know what I'm doing. We need to leave, I tell him. Someone's drowning out there, I say. We have to help. The word someone makes his face go pale. He snaps his gaze toward where I'm pointing. But it's not a person. It's something else entirely. Martian shouts, "That is not a person. We sail. Now." But before the words even settle, the thing vanishes beneath the surface, and something below the water begins slowly closing in on the hull. Sensing the danger, Martian pulls us both into his arms. us. Then, in an instant, a massive deep-sea beast erupts from the deep and bites down on the entire boat. A creature tens of thousands of meters tall picks it up like a toy. Martian holds us tight and does not let go. As the beast flips the boat, we dangle in midair, hanging by nothing. Then it plunges back into the deep, and the boat splits clean in two. The shockwave nearly drags me under, but Martian grabs me just in time and pulls me back. We barely catch our breath before its massive tail comes crashing down. It obliterates what's left of the boat. We're all thrown into the sea. Debris from the blast shoots toward Tower Island like cannon fire. When the shockwave fades and the water settles, we find ourselves washed up on the island. Martian checks on us immediately. Is anyone hurt? I'm alright, but Rita is unconscious from the impact. Then I look at Martian and my heart stops. A steel rod has been driven through his abdomen. He sees the panic on my face and tells me he's fine. Take Rita and go, he says. Find somewhere to hide. He'll pull the rod out and come find us. I want to argue, but under his urging I have no choice. I hoist Rita onto my back and run. Only after we're gone does Martian allow himself to feel the pain. He grips the rod and tries to pull it free, but it's lodged in the rubble behind him. He can't break free, and at that moment the deep-sea beast comes charging back. In the blink of an eye, it looms over Martian. It willingly endures the burning sunlight just to stay on land. That behavior baffles Martian. The beast stares at Martian with wide, unblinking eyes. Then it shifts its gaze to us, still fleeing in the distance. It looks almost amused. A cruel smile spreads across its face. Then it moves, a blur, charging straight at us. Pinned to the rubble, Martian screams at me, "Run!" I look back and see its enormous jaws wide open, aimed straight at me. At the last second, I throw myself toward the entrance of the tower with everything I have. Just barely, I clear the bite. I hold Rita tight, drenched in a cold sweat, shaking. Before I can recover, a tentacle from the top of its head slithers inside after us. It slaps across the floor, sweeping back and forth, searching for us. Then it stops, directly in front of us. Like always, I press my hands hard over my mouth and nose, making no sound, praying it won't find us and we'll move on. But the tentacle sways, like it already knows we're here. Then the tip twists, spinning into the shape of a drill. It strikes without warning. I twist my body at the last moment and barely dodge it. Again and again it attacks, trying to finish us off. I drag Rita with me and keep dodging. We finally crawl under a pile of rubble. For a long moment, silence. Just as I reach out to check outside, I see Martian's silhouette standing ahead of me. I cry out, overwhelmed with relief. The figure turns toward me, but as it gets closer, something is wrong. That's not Martian. Sure enough, as it reaches me, the body begins to split apart. It was the beast's tentacle all along, shaped like a human. Before I can react, it wraps around me completely. In an instant, I'm dragged outside. Just as the beast opens its jaws to swallow me whole, Martian arrives in time, slicing the tentacle clean off with one strike. He wraps an arm around me, drives his blade into the beast's back, and uses it to slow their descent. They land on the ground steady. Martian raises his weapon and puts himself between me and the beast. He roars at it, "Don't you touch my son, you monster!" The deep-sea beast pauses, startled. Then it lets out a low, rumbling laugh, like it finds him pathetic. Martian tells me to get into the crevice of the rocks. What comes next is his fight. He had never seen a deep-sea beast this large, even bigger than Scootum, he thinks. But he knows one thing with absolute certainty. He cannot lose this fight. If he does, his children die. He grips his weapon, the joints clicking into place, and he charges straight at the enormous deep-sea beast. As he closes in, the beast's claw swings first, but Martian twists and slips past it, left with only a shallow scratch across his cheek. In that opening, he delivers a rapid series of slashes across the beast's body. Deep, bleeding gashes open across its flesh. The beast howls in pain. Then it swings a massive palm at Martian. He leaps aside, and as he passes, carves another slash into its body. Then he runs up the beast's body, sprinting toward the top. At the peak, he launches himself into the air. With every ounce of strength he has, he drives the full length of his blade deep into the beast's flesh. Using gravity and his own force, he tears downward through the beast's body. On land, he believes he can kill this thing. Near the bottom of his descent, he kicks off, wrenches the blade free, and spins to land. But a tentacle catches him mid-air. He is hurled into the wall of the tower with brutal force. Blood bursts from his mouth, but the beast presses the attack, twisting its body to close the distance in an instant. Just as the beast opens its jaws again, Martian spots a taut crane cable beside him and grabs it. Without a moment's hesitation, he cuts it. The cable snaps back and yanks him upward, pulling him out of the beast's bite at the last possible moment. As he rises, he grabs hold of a wooden beam in his path. No time to rest. He works to wrench the beam from the wall as the beast's jaws come snapping up at him again. Just as it reaches him, he tears the beam free. One end drives straight into the beast's upper jaw. The other end jams against its lower teeth as the jaw snaps shut, locking its mouth wide open. Martian seizes the moment and strikes at its face without stopping. But just as he's about to finish it, the beam begins to crack under the crushing force of the beast's jaws. Then it snaps in two, and the beast's teeth drive straight through Martian's body. The beast looks down at Martian, cautiously caught between its teeth, and that look of contempt returns. My heart is breaking. Tears flood my eyes as I scream for him. In that moment, Martian looks at me, and a lifetime of memories floods through his mind. He'd always worried so much, all for the sake of protecting us. Every night he held us while we shook with fear, smiling like it was nothing. But Martian was afraid too. He feared losing us. He feared failing us even more. But in this moment, his eyes are filled with nothing but warmth and love. He lets go of the blade that has been with him for years. Then he reaches for the high explosive charge hidden at his side. He shouts to me to take care of Rita. Then without a moment's hesitation, he drives the charge into the wound on the beast's head. The explosion erupts, and a massive mushroom cloud blasts out from the beast's mouth. The shockwave alone sends me flying through the air. The beast's head is obliterated. It collapses into the deep and does not move again. When I finally pull myself up, all I can do is sob at the empty sea. Now I finally understand. Dad always treated me like a child. He just wanted to protect us from this cruel sea and the beasts within it. But now there's no Dad. It's just Rita and me, and we have to figure out how to survive on our own. When Rita wakes up, I don't know how to tell her. In the end, I let a gentle lie carry us through. Once I pull myself together, the most pressing thing is finding food. The hunting rifle and all the fishing gear have sunk to the bottom. I search through the few things I managed to salvage. At last I find a wooden box with a few iron forks inside. These are from the time Dad took me diving into the ruins. I never understood why he kept them. Now I do. Every choice he made was deliberate and full of care. I use the forks and some wood to fashion a basic spear, but when I'm ready to enter the water, I freeze. The same sea I've explored every day of my life now terrifies me. Rita grabs my arm and begs me not to go. What if the monster comes back? Then, just in time, a few crabs crawl out from the cracks in the rocks, saving us for the moment. The crabs become our dinner. For water, I use the method Dad taught me. Place a small cup inside a plastic bottle, pour in seawater, let the sun heat it until the vapor condenses and drips into the cup. Rita and I each take a sip, not salty at all. Water problem solved. As for what comes next, who knows how long we'll be stuck here. So Rita and I decide to explore Tower Island. We head up to the second floor and find the same horrifying skeletons. At first, the sight shakes us badly, but we steady ourselves and start searching for anything useful. I find a red barrel. I open it, take a sniff. Gasoline. I also find the same high explosive charges Dad had used. The image of Martian going down with a beast flashes through my mind. Something takes root inside me. A will to fight. To protect Rita and to survive, I have to learn how. I look at Martian's blade in my hands. If that monster ever comes back, I'll use this to protect her. While examining the weapon, I find a red button on the side. The moment I press it, a blast of gas fires backward, and without any warning, my whole body is launched forward. I have no time to react. I slam straight into the pillar in front of me. The impact hits so hard, I burst into tears. Rita tugs at me through my tears and says she found something strange. I go over and look. It's just a plain floor panel. But when I lift it, there appears to be a basement below. I tell Rita to stay up top and climb down with the spear. I've barely gone far when a large fish suddenly leaps out of the water. The basement opens into a water-filled space teeming with fish. I'm overjoyed. I jump in and start hunting. I never expected this. With water solved and now food abundant, Rita and I could survive here for a long time. But as I dive deeper, I find something strange. A round, soft, rubbery mass. I reach out and touch it. A heartbeat pulses from inside. I go completely still, frozen with dread. But when I look around, they're everywhere. Dozens of them. Before I can process what I'm seeing, one of them cracks open. A creature's arm reaches out from inside. My eyes go wide in horror. Without a moment's hesitation, I swim up as fast as I can. This must be the nest of the beast we fought. And those round masses, they're its eggs. But I haven't made it far when the hatchling grabs my ankle. It opens its jaws and bites into my thigh. In a flash of desperation, I drive the spear through one of its eyes. It shrieks in pain, releases me, and tumbles back into the deep. I glance back. Lucky. But every nerve in my body is screaming. I haul myself out of the water and gasp for fresh air. But the hatchling I blinded is absolutely furious. In an instant, its claws burst through the surface and come after me. I draw Martian's blade and swing it furiously, trying to drive it back. But even as a newborn, it is driven by a savage hunger. It lunges at me, jaws wide open. In that instant, something breaks through the fear. My body acts on its own. I drop one hand to the ground, blade raised, and roll sideways out of the attack. Then I run, straight out of the basement without stopping. I slam the iron hatch shut over the entrance and press my full weight down on it. But it does nothing. The iron door is pierced like paper by those razor claws. With barely a flick of its head, the door and I are lifted into the air. I push past the fear. I raise the blade with both hands, and drive it downward through the door. The moment the blade strikes home, the noise below goes silent. Cold sweat pours down my face. Did I actually get it? No time to find out. I pile chunks of concrete and rebar on top of the hatch as fast as I can. But when I finally finish, I realize Rita, who was supposed to be right here, is gone. I search frantically, calling her name. I tear through the second floor. Nothing. I rush outside. Relief washes over me. She's just standing at the edge, staring out at the sea. I shout at her to step back, to get away from the water. She doesn't respond. Only when I reach her side does she point at something out on the water. I look. A silhouette. The same build as Martian. My blood runs cold. Martian is dead. That cannot be him. him, and given what that beast's tentacle did before taking the shape of a human, a cold dread rises in my gut. Is that thing still alive? Before I can act, Rita has already climbed into a small boat and is rowing straight toward it. She was unconscious when Martian died. She doesn't know. She rose and shouts back at me, excited, "Dad came back!" I scream at her to come back. That is not Dad. At that same moment, the alarm goes off. I look up at the sky in horror. The sun is sinking. Night is almost here. I don't think. I jump into the water and swim after her. As I get closer, I see a swarm of dark shapes pouring out of an opening in the water. Deep sea beasts. A whole pack of them. I surge to the surface. Rita calls for me to get on the boat. There's no time, I tell her. We might not make it back. I grab the boat and drag us both toward a cluster of rocks. When we get close, I push Rita up first. When it's my turn, a deep sea beast slams into me. I twist sideways just in time and barely avoid it. Even so, our situation is desperate. The deep sea beasts have us surrounded on that pile of rocks. Tower Island is right there, but we can't reach it. If we jump in, they'll tear us apart in seconds. Then one beast slams into the rocks. Just one hit sends violent tremors through the rocks, nearly throwing us off. Much more of this and the whole thing will collapse. And if we fall in, they will tear us apart and devour us. Lost and desperate, I think of Martian. His strength, his final words telling me to protect Rita. A courage I've never felt before rises inside me. Martian gave his life for us. I am not going to die waiting. I tighten my grip on the blade. Even if it kills me, I will carve a way out for Rita. A deep-sea beast surges out of the water, jaws wide, lunging at me, and I feel no fear. Instead, my entire body floods with strength and the will to fight. As it reaches me, I split its head in two with a single strike. It dies instantly and falls back into the sea. Before I can feel anything, two more beasts roar behind me. I spin around instantly and cut them both down. But as they fall, the impact scrapes against the rocks beneath us, and the whole stack begins to give way. As we're about to go under, I wrap one arm around Rita, and in the last moment before we hit the water, I push off the crumbling rocks with both feet. We land right in the small boat. To our surprise, the pack of beasts doesn't come after us immediately. Instead, they're tearing apart and devouring the one I just killed. Rita and I take the chance and row for Tower Island with everything we have. It doesn't take long before the carcass is gone and their eyes find us again. But we've already reached the island. I tell Rita to get up to the second floor. I stay behind to cut down the ladder. I hack at it again and again, but the wood is impossibly hard. 2 strikes, 3, it won't break. By now, a swarm of deep-sea beasts is already crawling through the entrance. They scan the room, hunting for us. The moment they spot me, they charge. I know I'm running out of time. I swing harder at the ladder. But before I can land enough strikes, they're already at my feet. No choice. I climb. But the moment I take that step, a beast swipes its claw at me. The razor edge catches my back and tears through the skin. At the same time, the ladder buckles under the weight of the beasts climbing it. In an instant, every beast on the ladder crashes to the floor. Even so, watching them from above, my heart is pounding. I don't know if losing the ladder is enough to stop them. They claw frantically at the walls, but their massive bodies can't make any progress. A wave of relief washes over me. I let out a breath. Then Rita grabs me, her face pale, and says I'm bleeding from my back. I tell her it's just a scratch. Don't worry. Then I take her hand and open the door to the room on the second floor, planning to wait here until daylight. But the moment it swings open, my eyes go wide in horror. The hatchling, the one I blinded in the basement, is already inside the room. Before I can react, it slams me to the ground with one claw. Its jaws open and come down at me. But when those teeth are barely 2.5 centimeters from my skull, they stop. Rita has picked up a steel rod and driven it straight through the creature's other eye. Her small frame stands absolutely firm. She screams, "Let go of him, you monster!" The beast howls in pain, flings me aside, and turns its fury on Rita. Rita backs away in terror until she hits the wall. With both eyes destroyed, the beast's sight is gone. Now it can only track her by scent. Guided by smell alone, its jaws inch closer and closer toward Rita. Rita trembles so hard she can barely stand, but she doesn't make a sound. At that moment, I slam my hands against the gasoline barrel as hard as I can, making as much noise as possible to draw the beast toward me. Blind and guided only by sound, the beast wheels around and lunges straight at me. I rip the lid off the barrel and throw it into the beast's open mouth. Then I leap to the side and narrowly clear the strike. I scramble to my feet and swing the blade hard at a steel rod nearby. The metal clash sends a shower of sparks flying. The sparks catch the gasoline pooling on the floor and ignite it. In an instant, flames engulf the beast entirely. I grab Rita and head for the ladder to get higher and clear of the fire. Wrapped in a blazing inferno, the beast thrashes and rolls. Its flailing body knocks the green crate flying. The high explosive charges spill onto the floor. The flames are already close enough to set them off. The moment I see it, my face drains of color. I scream at Rita to get down. It's going to blow. I race up the ladder, pull Rita into my arms, and in the last second before the explosion, we leap together into the sea. The blast tears the entire tower apart. The structure crumbles into rubble and rains down into the water. The deep sea beasts nearby are crushed on the spot. Even the eggs in the flooded basement below are destroyed. Rita and I somehow survive the fall. Looking at the shattered eggs around us, I feel relief and dread at the same time. I bring Rita up to the surface. We pull ourselves onto a boulder. Good, I say. All those eggs are gone. But a cold dose of reality hits me almost immediately. Tower Island is submerged. How are we supposed to survive now? Before I can think it through, a thud behind me makes me spin around. A deep-sea beast, and within moments the boulder is surrounded by a swarm of them. Fear and despair close in around us both. I swing my blade, trying to mount some kind of last stand, but a beast clamps its jaws down on my blade, and just like that, the weapon is locked. More beasts surge forward from behind. I push Rita behind me and shout at them to stay back. It does nothing. Tears of despair flood my eyes. Then, out of nowhere, a strike comes blazing in from a distance and finishes the beast in one hit. Rita and I snap our eyes toward where it came from, grasping at any shred of hope. Out on the sea, a figure stands in the distance. We look closer. It's a young woman with white hair, wearing unfamiliar clothes. Shock hits me first, then a surge of joy. A human. An actual human. For the first time in this world, I'm looking at another human being. Someone other than my father and Rita. The deep-sea beasts notice too. They turn toward the sound, drawn by the death of their own. The moment they see it's just a lone human, a wave of them lunges forward without hesitation. The white-haired girl, Kana, doesn't flinch. She calmly draws her steam spear gun. She racks the bolt and opens fire. Thousands of spears tear through the air like a monsoon, shredding everything that charged at her. Mid-barrage, she swings the barrel toward us and keeps firing. Spears scream past us. My heart seizes with terror. I throw myself over Rita and press her down, but every single spear that flies our way grazes past. Not one touches us. It's not random. She's in full control. Across the deck, the deep-sea beasts shriek and wail. They realize it fast. Kana is the real threat here. They abandon us and redirect everything toward taking her down first. The relentless volley of spears doesn't slow them at all. Some hold formation as cover. Others slip beneath the surface to flank her. Rita and I can only stare, frozen. Then, a heavy thud on the deck behind us. I spin around and come face to face with a gaping jaw, wide enough to swallow us whole. Pure instinct kicks in. I grab Rita and hurl us both to the side. Without stopping, I snatch a steam blade off the deck. I spin and swing with everything I have, but luck isn't with me. The blade catches on its teeth. No damage, not even a flinch. It snatches the steam blade from my grip like it's nothing. Its other claw rakes toward my face, and then, a wall of spears punches clean through it. The beast drops dead before it can even fall. I spin around to find Kana has already cleared every beast in sight. She reaches for a fresh magazine, and that's the moment. I scream a warning. A beast explodes out of the water behind her. Kana twists just in time, dodging the strike, but the steam spear gun slips from her hands and vanishes into the sea. A deep gash opens across her arm. She looks at the wound. Something shifts in her eyes. Without a word, she reaches back and draws her twin blades. Below the surface, the beasts see the spear gun sink. They surge upward in a flood. Kana doesn't retreat. She kicks off her battleboard and charges straight into them. She cuts through them like paper. One stroke, one kill. She even pulls off a spinning aerial slash mid-fight. When she lands, the beast splits into three. Viscera sprays across the water. In under 3 seconds, the entire front wave is reduced to a bloodbath. Kana doesn't pause. She pushes forward. Like a machine with no emotion, just blades, moving without end. The sea becomes a storm of flesh and blood. My heart hammers so hard it hurts. Someone can actually do this. Cut down deep-sea beasts like they're nothing. Kana's slaughter continues. Wherever she passes, only ruin remains. As chunks of flesh rain into the sea, the few surviving beasts lose their nerve completely. It doesn't save them. They all fall to her blades, swallowed by the same sea of blood. One last beast makes a move toward Rita and me. Kana gives it no chance. She drops from above and sends it straight to hell. When it's over, Kana turns and surveys the carnage behind her. Satisfied that nothing is still breathing, she sheathes her twin blades. I hold Rita tight. My nerves won't settle. I still don't know if Kana is someone we can trust. She wiped out every beast and saved us, yes. But those spears flew straight at us too. Rita and I were well within range. Any one of them could have hit, so I keep my guard up. I can't afford not to. Before I can think any further, Kana speaks. Running into a hunter out here in the open sea, you two are lucky. The word hunter makes my chest tighten. My father used to talk about them. Hunters who fought deep-sea beasts and protected their communities. Warriors of the sea, he called them. They stood between the people and the monsters. The white-haired girl tells us her name is Kana, a hunter of the B-League. Her words barely settle before a thunderous roar rolls across the water. Rita and I look up and go speechless. Something the size of an island is moving toward us. Only when it gets close enough do I finally make out what it is. A ship. A ship larger than any island I've ever seen. I barely have time to process it before a deep rumbling rises from the water. A submarine breaches the surface. Our jaws drop. Kana just lets out a sigh, climbs out and waves at Kana. You took forever, Boren, Kana says flatly. We weren't slow, Boren replies. You were just too fast. Rita and I are still reeling. This is the first time either of us has ever seen so many people at once, not just a handful on the submarine. The colossal ship above is lined with people watching us from the rails. There are no words for what I feel in this moment. The tears that spill from my eyes say it better than I ever could. Rita and I hold each other and sob. We're saved. We've found people. The sea around us is bathed in the ship's floodlights as the hunting squad sweeps the area. Search carefully, Kana shouts. I want 0 stragglers. Then she gets on the radio and contacts Dr. Freud below. What's the situation down there? What do you think? He replies. You cleaned house. They're all dead. Every last one. Nothing left but pieces. Was that really necessary? Dr. Freud grumbles. Could you not have left me even one alive? Boren snorts. Leave one alive? And she'd still be called Kana? These things had terrible luck, Dr. Freud mutters. Of all the hunters to run into, it had to be Kana. Though thank goodness it was her. If those eggs had hatched, we'd have a real problem. The eggs, was that you too? No, Kana says. That wasn't me. Boren stares at the remains scattered across the water. What breed are these things even? I've never seen anything this ugly. Below the surface, Dr. Freud's assistant suddenly calls out to him. The assistant leads him to an enormous carcass. Dr. Freud's voice shakes when he sees it. Kentarashi. This is Kentarashi, and it's at least 50 meters long. The name jolts both Boren and Kana. Kentarashi? Boren says. Isn't that one of the 7 lords of the sea? No question about it, Dr. Freud confirms. And it's even larger than the legends described. Kana, did you do this alone? A pause. No, she says quietly. That wasn't me either. While the others trade confused looks, Kana spots something. A weapon, left behind, lodged in the carcass of a deep-sea beast. Her eyes lock onto it, and something shifts in her expression. She turns sharply and looks toward the boat carrying Rita and me away. Meanwhile, we're already being processed. A refugee registration officer sits across from us. How long have you two been adrift? He asks. A year or two, judging by the look of you. About 10 years, I say, completely sincere. He stares at me, then his expression shifts. He smacks me on the head with his clipboard. You think I'm gonna buy that? Just because I'm a low-level official, even kids think they can mess with me? Tell me the truth. This form does not tolerate falsified information. Rita has been watching him smack me on the head. She's fuming. She pushes right up to him. We're telling the truth. We didn't lie. A refugee kid talking back to me? He shouts. Do you have any idea who I am? A low-level official, Rita answers, completely serious. He's so furious he stabs straight through the form with his pen. I step in and explain. We lived with our father. He's gone now, killed by deep-sea beasts. My voice gives out before I finish. The tears come again. The man's anger drains out of him. He introduces himself properly. Lee Ji-ho, refugee supervisor. He'll be in charge of us from here on. If you have questions, ask me. I take the chance. Those people still out on the water, who are they? Hunters, Lee Ji-ho says. First time seeing them, so it's no surprise you don't know. And just like that, everything my father told me was real. Hunters who fight deep-sea beasts, not a fairy tale. And the one who saved you, Lee Ji-ho adds. Kana, she's something else even among hunters. She's a certified 3-star hunter. What does that mean, I ask. Hunters have a tradition, he explains. They mark the number of deep-sea beasts they've killed, tattooed right on their bodies. Every star represents 100 kills. Plenty of hunters get eaten before they ever earn a single star. So, 3 stars. That's already extraordinary. It means she's killed over 300 deep-sea beasts. What about 6 stars, I ask. Would that be over 600? Lee Ji-ho laughs out loud. 6 stars? That's impossible. The highest record in the entire B-League is 4 stars. If a 6-star hunter actually existed, they wouldn't just be famous. They'd be a legend. But his answer doesn't sit right with me. I've seen my father's hunter's mark. It had 6 stars. Before I can say a word, a motorboat pulls up alongside us. Kana addresses Lee Ji-ho directly. Boarding clearance is through. They can come aboard. Then her eyes flick to us. Just for a moment. She turns and heads off without another word. But I notice it. A Martian sword on her back that wasn't there before. I shout after her. She doesn't look back. Back on the motorboat, Boren asks Kana, was it the owner of that sword who killed Kentarashi? Kentarashi is one of the 7 lords of the sea, Kana says. That's not something one person can take down alone. There was a case once. A single deep-sea beast wiped out an entire refugee ship. I know that one, someone says. The Great Crab Scudum incident. 15 years ago, a refugee ship was attacked by Scudum, an armored crustacean-type deep-sea beast. Its shell was so hard that nothing they threw at it made a dent. A lot of refugees died that day. And then the B-League deployed every hunter they had and barely managed to drive it off, right? Boren says. That's a lie, Kana says. Scudum didn't get driven off. It kept feeding until it was full. Then it went back down on its own. That's just a rumor that went around among refugees, Boren says. You actually believe that? It's not a rumor. I was there. I survived it. I watched Scudum eat my parents. I watched it take everyone else too. To creatures like that, we're just easy prey floating on the surface. Boren goes quiet. Now he understands why Kana hates deep-sea beasts the way she does. Meanwhile, Rita and I have boarded the B-League's massive ship. One of the crew goes back to our wrecked boat and retrieves a few of our belongings, handing them to me. Lee Ji-ho leads us along and tells us the League will set us up with temporary quarters. But if you want to stay, don't cause trouble, especially during the observation period. Cause any, and you'll be removed immediately. Rita and I are buzzing with excitement anyway, but Lee Ji-ho glances down at our bare feet and frowns. No shoes on this ship is a hazard. We need to fix that first. He decides to take us to the market right away. On the way there, everything around us leaves us completely stunned. The sheer scale of the ship, how steady it holds on the water, the familiar smell of iron and welding, row after row of dive pods lined up as far as we can see, but nothing prepares us for the market. The crowd, the noise, the life of it. There are fishmongers calling out their catches, an old man playing violin on the corner, and skewers of grilled meat that stop us dead in our tracks. The smell alone is enough to root our feet to the floor. Lee Ji-ho has to nudge us along. We reach the shoe stall soon after. 2 pairs. 30 nat total, the owner says. Since when did the price jump this fast? Lee Ji-ho says. These two are refugees, can you give them a break? My shoes don't fall from the sky, the owner shoots back, and you know full well I don't bargain. With no discount coming, Lee Ji-ho turns to me. Got anything you could trade? I dig through my things and pull out an alarm clock. The owner just points to an entire wall of alarm clocks behind him. Can't you see, kid? I fumble through everything I have, with no idea what any of it is worth. Then the owner's expression changes. He stares at the bottle in my hand. Is that whiskey? I look at the bottle. I've never heard that word before in my life. The owner clears his throat and forces his voice calm. That'll do. 1 bottle for 2 pairs of shoes. Really? I light up. Lee Ji-ho throws out an arm and stops me. He leans in close to the owner, who is very obviously trying to look casual. You think 2 pairs of shoes is a fair trade for a bottle of whiskey? Then he turns and shouts across the market. Whiskey! There's whiskey over here! Every head in earshot turns. The moment they see the bottle is real, the crowd surges in. Within seconds, it's a full auction. Bids flying, prices climbing, the noise rising with every offer. That last bottle of whiskey scores us a mountain of supplies. We made an absolute killing. The people here are surprisingly generous. 1 bottle of whiskey, and we walk away with all this. My sister is kicking herself. If she'd known, she never would have dumped all that whiskey into the water. But back then, having something to carry water in mattered far more than the whiskey itself. Lee Ji-ho sees us sulking and steps in. He tells us the value of something changes completely depending on the situation you're in. Then he looks us dead in the eye and says, out here, the only thing you can ever truly trust is money. My sister and I nod immediately. Message received. He then leads us to a building and announces, this is our new home. We both lean in, eyes wide with excitement. The place is a wreck. Every time the roof shifts, it lets out a piercing creak. Lee Ji-ho awkwardly sidesteps a spider. He clears his throat and insists it's just a little messy. My sister and I take it all in and burst out in a string of gasps. We shout in unison, this place is amazing. There are actual beds. We throw ourselves onto them without a second thought, dust flying everywhere, and we couldn't care less. My sister rushes to the window, practically squealing. There's a window, an actual window. She presses her face against it and cries out, look, the sky is flickering, it's sparkling. Lee Ji-ho's expression sours. He corrects her flatly, those are stars. My sister and I go quiet, staring up at the night sky. This is the first time either of us has ever seen what stars actually look like. So this is what father used to talk about, the little lights that shine in the dark. Staring up at that sea of light, my throat tightens and tears spill down my face. It's beautiful. Meanwhile, the ship makes it back to B-League without incident. Several mechanical arms lower their chains. They lock onto the surface of the water below with surgical precision. Dr. Freud shouts orders, directing the crew to haul their catch-up slowly. And then Kentarashi, the massive deep-sea beast, is dragged out of the ocean. Boren stares at the creature. He can't help himself. That thing is hideous. Dr. Freud, on the other hand, is practically vibrating with excitement. They've obtained an extraordinarily rare specimen. This is the creature that climbed to the top of the food chain faster than anything else after the seas rose. One of the 7 demons of the sea. Kentarashi, a chill runs through Boren. Can they actually beat something like this and walk away alive? Dr. Freud sighs. Even now, Boren's mind goes straight to fighting. Humanity once knew almost nothing about deep-sea beasts. That's exactly why, as a scholar, he has to uncover every secret they hold. All of it. For the future of humanity. The doctor can barely contain himself. His hands are already trembling with anticipation. But Boren suddenly frowns. Where's Kana? Why isn't she here to see this? At that very moment, Kana has slipped quietly into B-League's armory. She asks Sting, what did you find out? Sting has been waiting for her. He tells her straight. The sword is authentic. It is the legendary Slaughterer sword. The real thing. Kana's mind races. How did those 2 kids get their hands on something like this? She lifts the sword and examines it closely. Her expression grows heavier with every passing second. If this truly is the Slaughterer sword, then its owner can only be the legendary Leviathan Beast Slayer, 6-star harpoon hunter, Martian. Sting watches her. He asks what she plans to do about it. Kana's eyes go cold. She's certain blood is about to be spilled here. Those kids cannot stay here, not a moment longer. Back in our room, I lie on the bed with my sister in my arms, my heart full. All my life, and this is the first time I've ever fallen asleep beneath the stars. With a harpoon hunter bearing the star mark watching over this place, I should feel safe. And yet, something gnaws at me. I can't sleep. Kana returns to her room. The thought won't leave her. It keeps circling. Kentarashi, one of the 7 demons of the sea, is dead. The wounds on its body tell the whole story. Anyone could see how brutal that fight must have been. The owner of the Slaughterer sword, Martian. Did he really take down Kentarashi alone? She wonders what he was protecting. What could drive a man to risk his life like that? Could it be those 2 children? Martian, was what you fought so desperately to protect your most precious family too? Kana's gaze drifts to the glass orb beside her, and suddenly she's thinking of her own family. Her family were refugees, adrift on the open sea with nowhere to call home. They survived by scavenging whatever junk had been dumped to the ocean floor. 14-year-old Kana looked at all of it with nothing but contempt. It was all just garbage. Her father smiled gently and corrected her. It wasn't garbage. It was treasure hunting on the sea. Then, eyes lighting up, he pointed at something something and told her he'd found a treasure. It was a glass orb, perfectly preserved, nearly flawless, like it had just been made. He held it out to her with a smile. A gift. Just for her. Inside the orb was a world she had never seen. Dazzling, vibrant, full of life. So this was how people used to live. Kana stared, overcome with longing, but the wonder faded fast. Her expression darkened. She pushed the orb back into his hands. She didn't need something like this. Sell it to B-League. They'd get good money for it. Her mother gently took her hands and told her this was a gift they had chosen for her with love. It wasn't for selling. Kana stared into the orb, aching with a longing she couldn't quite name. To live somewhere that beautiful, somewhere that warm. But the reality was this. Refugees scraped by selling salvage metal to B-League, receiving just enough supplies to survive, and far in the distance stood that massive vessel, a light so far out of reach, it may as well have been a star. Music drifted from it sometimes, warm and haunting, filling her with a yearning she couldn't shake. The people inside didn't have to fear deep-sea beasts. They didn't have to dread the waves. Every refugee dreamed of one day becoming an official resident of B-League, because life as a refugee was brutal beyond words. Disaster could strike at any moment, leaving nothing but wounds behind. Deep-sea beast attacks kept them living in constant fear. And those days claimed lives, including people Kana had known, loved. The refugees around her grew fewer and fewer. Kana felt it deep in her bones. A refugee's life was simply too cruel. She asked herself constantly, why did it have to be this way? Her father never lost faith. Find the right treasure, he believed, and everything would change. Find the treasure, and B-League would grant them residency rights. 14-year-old Kana was skeptical. Could that really happen? Could they actually get in? To her, it sounded like nothing more than a pipe dream. What treasure could possibly exist in a sea full of garbage? Until the day her father actually did it. He led them to ancient ruins. Everyone erupted. That symbol. It was unmistakably heavy industry. They had finally found what they had been searching for. Working together, they hauled the precious object out of the water. Everyone cheered. 14-year-old Kana stared at it, unconvinced. This hunk of scrap. This was the treasure? Her father told her. It wasn't ordinary scrap. It was a deep-sea exploration device from the old world. With this, they could finally go to B-League. This was their ticket to becoming official residents. They could actually live there. No more drifting. No more sea. Kana threw herself into her parents' arms, laughing. Everyone was swept up in joy and hope. No more fear. No more deep-sea beasts. But no one could have seen what was coming. The real monster arrived in the dead of night, without a sound. The same people who had been celebrating just moments before were swallowed whole. The attack cost Kana her eye. Her mother screamed herself hoarse. Hide, Kana, hide now! The next second, the beast's massive jaws came crashing down. Blood sprayed everywhere. Kana pressed herself behind a crate, trembling so hard she could barely breathe, too terrified to make a sound. The survivors, consumed by rage, snatched up harpoons and blades and charged the beast. But no matter how hard they struck, they couldn't pierce its shell. Enraged, the beast swung its enormous claw. It swept through the crowd with devastating force. The barbs lining its claw tore through bodies in an instant. The carnage was unbearable to witness. Warm blood poured down like running water. At the sight of it, no one dared step forward anymore. The people on nearby ships were out of their minds with terror. They screamed for the ships to turn around. Run! Just run! Someone cried out that they couldn't abandon the others still fighting, and was immediately shouted down. Stupid. Selfish. When those people are gone, you're next. But they didn't get far. The beast had already fixed its eyes on them. It gave them no time to react. The barbs fired off its claw like a volley of bolts, shredding the neighboring ship like it was made of paper. In the chaos, Kana's father found her and pulled her close. He dragged her into the depths of the hull, both of them half blind with panic. He grabbed the radio comms and sent out a distress signal immediately. B-League, come in. This is the refugee fleet. Over and over they broadcast the same message, under attack by a massive deep-sea beast. But no matter how many times they called, the radio stayed silent. On a rocky outcrop at the edge of the sea, a young Martian sat quietly fishing, an octopus leg dangling from his mouth. His gaze drifted lazily across the water, and caught on something wrong. A small boat. Its hull was riddled with spikes, packed so dense it barely looked like a boat at all. The people aboard were already dead. Martian's stomach dropped. He knew exactly what had done this. Behind a nearby rock, Kana's father was gripping the radio comms and screaming for help. B-League, again and again. After what felt like forever, the line finally clicked through. A flat, mechanical voice came back. This is B-League. A survivor nearby snatched the radio comms out of his hands, sobbing and screaming. Deep-sea beast attack, please send help. Please come now. The response that came back froze every single one of them solid. We have no obligation to protect refugees. The words hit like a thunderclap. Kana's father begged. There are children on this ship. Children! His voice broke down into something raw and desperate. Please, just save my child. The voice on the other end didn't waver. One word. Refused. Kana heard every word. She couldn't move. She couldn't believe the hunters would just leave them to die. Good luck, the voice said, and cut the line. Kana's father refused to give up. He screamed into the dead air. They had found ruins. Ruins! Was that enough? But it was already too late. The beast had found them. Its massive claw clamped around her father. Kana screamed and lunged forward, her cry tearing out of her chest. Her father twisted around in the claw's grip, roaring at her. Don't come out! Stay hidden! Don't you dare move! She couldn't accept it. She screamed and fought to reach him. And then, the beast opened its jaws and crushed him. Just like that. Scalding red blood rained down all over her. She stood frozen, screaming their names into the air. Dad! Mom! Just moments ago, they had all been together. laughing, eating, holding each other. That warmth was still in her hands. How had everything shattered so fast? She didn't understand. She couldn't understand. Why was the world this cruel? The beast, done with her father, turned its gaze slowly toward her. She had nothing left. No will to run. No will to fight. She stood perfectly still and waited for it to end, and just when she was certain it was over, a figure threw its arms around her and pulled her close. Young Martian had reached her just in time. He leaned down and spoke quietly. "No matter what, you never give up your life that easily." He turned to a stunned man nearby and handed Kana over. "Watch her." The man was too startled to think straight. "Who are you?" "Martian. Harpoon hunter, B-League." The man's eyes dropped to the sword on his back. Recognition hit him like a wave. Kana was still in a daze. She didn't know who this person was. The man could barely contain himself. The Martian, the legendary harpoon hunter, actually came for them. He had already accepted it. They had been abandoned, left to sink. Overjoyed, the man instinctively scanned the area for the rest of the team. Martian didn't answer. He simply told him, "The ship is taking on water. It could go down any moment." He would draw the beast away alone. The others needed to get on the lifeboats and go. Something in those words stopped the man cold. He realized Martian had come alone. Before anyone could say another word, Martian was already walking toward the beast. He studied that impenetrable shell, and for a moment, doubt flickered in his chest. Could the slaughtherer's sword actually break through this thing? When the beast struck, he met the blow with his blade. Then he spun and cut sideways toward the ship's edge. The ropes holding the lifeboat snapped clean. The boat dropped, free. He didn't hesitate another second. He charged straight at the beast. His body spun at full speed, blade raining down blow after blow on that armored body. But after hit, barely a scratch. Martian clicked his tongue. This was bad. The shell was exactly as tough as he feared. Standard strikes were useless. He had no choice. Push the weapon to its maximum output. He cranked the pressure on his compressed gas canister to the peak. "Come on then. Let's find out who the real apex of these waters is." The beast was furious now. Its massive claw came crashing down. Martian gritted his teeth and swung with everything he had. Deep cracks split across the claw. The beast shuddered, recoiling from the pain, snapping its claw back. On the deck, Kana stared, unable to look away. She had never seen a beast back down before. Martian fixed the beast with a cool, contemptuous stare. "First time meeting a hunter like me, isn't it?" But then his eyes swept across the deck, and the bodies brought his fury roaring back. This beast had devoured so many lives, and it still had the audacity to stand before him. Martian's rage boiled over. "You filthy crab!" he snarled. He was going to cut this thing apart. He surged forward, striking again and again without stopping. What they were witnessing left Kana and the survivors completely speechless. A single human being going blow for blow with a deep-sea beast. Not only had he not been swallowed, he showed not even a flicker of fear. The relentless barrage of strikes fell like a downpour. The claw began to crack, layer by layer. A cold gleam crossed Martian's eyes. Finally, it was working. This time, he would show no mercy. That claw was coming off. His blade fell like a storm, every strike carrying the force to raise the world. The beast thrashed and struggled, but it could not break free from Martian's relentless assault. A hunter built to hunt predators, livery Martian, known to all as the Beast Slayer. He hacked at the beast with every ounce of his strength, and finally the massive claw was severed completely. No one could believe it. That terrifying beast, reduced to this. Martian reached for his belt, and his stomach dropped. One compressed gas canister left. He knew exactly what that meant. This was his last card to play. If this strike didn't finish it, no one was walking away today. He slotted in the final canister without hesitation. The beast, badly wounded and burning with rage, nearly capsized the entire ship. It raised its remaining claw high, and slammed it down onto the deck with tremendous force. The whole ship lurched like it was about to come apart. Then it started ripping out broken planks, tearing the hull apart piece by piece. Martian's gut turned to ice. It was trying to sink the ship. The beast grabbed a massive plank and hurled it with full force, straight toward where Kana was. The people inside had no time to move. They could only watch it fall. It crushed everything beneath it. Martian's jaw clenched so hard his teeth ground together. He roared. He was going to kill this thing himself, and threw himself back into the fight. At that moment, a weak groan rose from the rubble. A wounded man crawled out from the wreckage. Kana, pinned under debris, spotted him and called out, her voice cracking, desperate. She begged him to help. Her legs were trapped under something heavy. She couldn't get free. But the man took one look at the scene around him and completely broke. He let out a shriek and ran, never looking back. Kana watched him go. She kept calling. Her voice grew smaller and smaller. On the other side of the wreckage, Martian was fighting with his eyes burning red. And then, the beast stopped, completely still. Martian pulled back. Something was wrong. And then a piercing shriek rang out from nearby. The man who had run. He was screaming over and over that he didn't want to die, completely out of his mind. The beast moved. Martian's expression snapped. He knew exactly what was coming. No time to think. He screamed toward the man, "Get down! Now!" The beast unleashed every spike on its body in a single explosive burst, all aimed at Martian. Martian threw his sword up in a desperate block. He couldn't cover everything. Spikes drove deep into his arms and legs and pinned him against the wall. The man who had just barely escaped had no chance. He hit the ground, soaked in blood. The pain was blinding. Martian cursed through his teeth, feeling his arm going numb. He gripped the spikes in his legs and tore them out. But the beast was already closing in. His right hand was still pinned to the wall. The beast shot out its claw, straight at him. him. Martian threw himself upward with every last bit of strength, barely clearing the strike that would have torn him in half. In the same motion he grabbed one of the spikes he had just pulled from his leg, and drove it deep into the beast. In the split second the beast recoiled. He wrenched his hand free from the wall, his body spun at full speed, and he brought his blade down on the beast's head with every ounce of strength he had left. He roared, and kept swinging, strike after strike, hammering into the beast without mercy. The beast thrashed its massive tail, and sent Martian flying. He crashed down meters away. The impact tore through every part of him. He didn't have enough strength left to even try standing. His compressed gas canisters were empty. He had nothing left to fight with. But the beast was no better. The prolonged battle had pushed it to its limits too. Its movements were slowing. Bubbles gurgled from its mouth. It was running on empty. Martian saw it. A spark of hope cut through the pain. It was almost done too. And then, in that deadlocked moment, light broke on the horizon. Warm sunlight pierced the water and fell across the beast's body. The beast reacted as if touched by fire. A howl of agony ripped from its body. It turned and fled. In just a few desperate bounds, it threw itself back into the deep. Martian stood there, baffled. That's it? The sea slowly stilled. It was really gone. All the tension drained out of him at once. He dropped to his knees. The beast was enormous, and like all deep-sea beasts, it despised sunlight. Martian turned and called out to Kana. Was she hurt? Kana's voice came back shaking, on the edge of tears, calling his name. She asked, barely holding together, was the beast gone? Was it defeated? Martian shook his head gently. The beast had just eaten its fill and gone home when the sun came up. Kana's chest seized. What if it came back? There were no guarantees, Martian told her quietly. But surviving to see a sunrise, that counted for something. Kana had no interest in sunrises, she said softly. Surviving like this wasn't good at all. Her father and mother had both been devoured right in front of her. Martian looked at the shattered girl and gently reached out to ruffle her hair. He knew what it meant to lose everyone. The moment it was fully light, a team of B-League harpoon hunters arrived. Not to help anyone, to take the ruins discovery. The lead hunter spoke without warmth. Hand over the discovery, and they would cover all of Kana's medical costs. Sign here, and she would become an official resident of B-League. It was everything her father had ever hoped for. But Kana felt like a blade was twisting inside her. Her family was gone. Her home was gone. And now she was supposed to accept this. Their so-called generosity, alone in the world. Inside B-League, the harpoon hunters were being celebrated as heroes. Passers-by crowded around to marvel at the beast's severed claw, talking over each other. They praised the hunters, defeated the beast, discovered the ruins. Not one word about the refugees who died. They might as well have never existed. Kana walked away, heartsick, and overheard a group of hunters, smug and self-satisfied. Refugees would kill themselves working just for a shot at residency rights. They just hadn't expected the refugees to actually find something this time. And the distress signal from last night's fleet, he had turned it down without a second thought. Better if all the refugees died. That way they could take the discovery without owing anyone anything. Kana stopped dead. Rage surged through her like a flood. She smashed the bottle in her hand. They had done it on purpose. Let the beast kill every last one of them. A guard recognized her, the only survivor of the refugee fleet, and sneered. He taunted her. Must be nice, trading your parents' lives for residency rights. Easy deal, wasn't it? Kana snapped. She drove the broken bottle straight at him. She was too small. One punch sent her crashing to the ground. He stepped forward and closed his hand around her throat. Refugees, he said with contempt. Savages, every last one of you. Raising a hand against a harpoon hunter was a serious crime. He snapped handcuffs onto her wrists. He told her flatly, he could execute her right here and no one would say a word. He wanted her to learn the rules of survival in this place. What a harpoon hunter says, that is the only law that matters here. Kana felt something between rage and bitter laughter. Their law. What a joke. When refugees called for help, they hid. When there was something to take, they hid behind the law. Called out. Humiliated and furious, the man drove his boot into her. Kana coughed up blood. The hunter snarled. This girl had a death wish. 3 grown hunters closing in on one unarmed child. They grinned and raised their fists. They were going to teach her a lesson she wouldn't forget. And just as the first blow was about to land, a hand caught the fist in midair. They turned and couldn't believe what they saw. Martian. Martian moved. In an instant, every one of those hunters was on the ground. He looked at them, men who had been beating a wounded child, and felt a fury he could barely keep contained. Kana stared at him through blurring eyes. Him again. He had saved her again. The lead hunter, shaken and livid, shouted that Martian was obstructing official duties. The words hit Martian like a slap. He couldn't believe it. They were doing this under the hunter's name, and calling it duty. Even faced with his disbelief, they stood there self-righteous and unbothered. The thought that people like this were dragging the hunter's name through the mud. Martian was shaking. He crushed the cane in his hand. He was going to show them what happened to hunters who broke the law. The sheer force of his presence shattered their confidence instantly. One of them muttered that they were no match for Martian and grabbed the others to leave, putting on a tough front as they retreated. They spat back. Martian was nothing but a commoner with a little skill. Keep throwing his weight around, and sooner or later he'd end up as fish food. Martian watched them scramble away and let out a cold, dismissive snort. Then he turned to Kana and asked quietly if she was hurt. He told her, this place was no different from the refugee fleet. The strong prey on the weak. That's all it was. The only difference was that their old enemy was the deep-sea beast. Now it was something far more dangerous. Other people. If she wanted to survive in this city, she had to become strong enough that no one could touch her. At those words, something hardened in her eyes. She looked him dead in the face and asked, How do you become a hunter? Martian hadn't expected that. Not from her, not right now. He told her the truth, it was brutal. Most people washed out before they ever got started. But Kana's mind was already made up. Even if it destroyed her, she would see it through. She was going to become a harpoon hunter, and she would cut down every monster in this world, every creature, and every person who preyed on the innocent. Martian stared into those fierce, unflinching eyes and found himself speechless. She kept talking. Refugees, B-League residents. It didn't matter. She wanted to protect all of them. She wanted to become exactly the kind of harpoon hunter Martian was. Fierce and powerful, but also kind. Someone who used their strength to stand up for everyone who had no one else. And right then, Kana made a silent promise to herself and locked away the debt she owed. She knew exactly what she owed him. She whispered his name quietly, her chest full of a gratitude she couldn't hide. She couldn't stop wondering, had Martian been the one who sent those two children here? Was he trusting her to keep them safe? The broadcasts kept looping. B-League keeps you safe, free from typhoons, free from deep-sea beasts. For the revival of B-League, all residents must fulfill their duties as crew. So I make my way to the scrap metal yard, hoping to find something, anything, that pays. The man at the yard looks baffled. He clearly wasn't expecting someone my size to walk up. I speak up straight away. I heard they were short-handed, so I came to apply. He looks me up and down, visibly uncomfortable. I'm too small, he says. The work is grueling. Even full-grown men struggle with it. A kid wouldn't last. Disappointment settles in. No one is going to hire me for manual labor. I'll just have to look for something that doesn't need brute strength. But then he adds, they don't hire refugees. He tells me to go. Rejection after rejection. I'm dragging by the time I give up. And then I spot an elderly woman sitting at the roadside, begging. She murmurs weakly. She hasn't eaten in days. She just needs a little help. Something in my chest won't let me walk past. I reach into my pocket and drop 2 mechanical coins into her bowl. It's all I have on me right now. Once I find work, I'll come back for her. The old woman's face warms. She says I'm a kind soul. She insists on giving me something in return. Something precious, she says. It's a seed. She tells me the meaning behind it. Hope. I thank her and take it carefully. Hope. Just that one word. And somehow it gives me strength. But coming back to the room brings reality crashing back. It's only been a week, and we've already burned through half our money. Just when I'm desperate to find a job, Lee Ji-ho's words come rushing back. Everyone here must work and pay taxes. Fail to pay and you get thrown out. I want nothing more than to work and pay my share, but no one will hire me. At this rate we won't last long. 1 fish a day is all we can afford. Rita looks miserable, grumbling that I wasted money on a packet of flower seeds. She can't stop thinking about grilled sardines, and suggests we go ask Lee Ji-ho for help. Lee Ji-ho opens the door and immediately asks if I found anything yet. When he hears I've been turned away everywhere, he lets out a weary sigh. He'll have to step in himself, swallow his pride and pull some strings on my behalf. But he warns me. It's dangerous work, and I need to be mentally prepared. I straighten up and say yes without hesitation. Soon we arrive at the lower deck pipe zone. The supervisor looks me up and down, muttering that they need strong, able-bodied young men. I immediately tense every muscle, trying to look as big and tough as I can. The supervisor sneers. This scrawny little runt is useless. He demands to know if Lee Ji-ho is trying to dump another refugee on him. Lee Ji-ho quickly smooths things over, urging him to at least watch me work first. I play along, sucking in air, flexing my arms, doing everything I can to look born for the pipes. After Lee Ji-ho pushes hard enough, the supervisor finally gives in. He'll let me work one day as a temp, reluctantly. Lee Ji-ho pulls me aside and tells me to give it everything I've got. Money is what keeps you alive here. The ocean has deep-sea beasts. But inside B-League, the most crushing thing of all is poverty. B-League shields us from typhoons and deep-sea beasts, but it can't save us from poverty or sickness. I nod slowly, his words only half sinking in. The moment we start, the foreman barks at me to stop spacing out and get moving. I snap to attention and fall in line, ready to get to work. My job is simple. Pull out the old drainage pipes and fit in the new ones. But the first swing of my hammer shatters the pipe, and filthy water explodes straight into my face. The stench hits like a wall. The man next to me gags. He grabs the pipe schematic. According to this, that shouldn't even be a sewage pipe. Something is seriously wrong. He reports to the foreman. The pipe layout is a mess. Nothing matches the schematic. But Foreman Hulong shrugs it off. Fix it, then update the schematic. Simple as that. Parts that match the original design haven't existed for years. This ship is 100 years old after all. He cracks open a water pipe and rinses me off. Hulong has been working these pipes for over 40 years. He knows this ship's history better than anyone. I can't help myself. I ask him who built something this massive. He tells me this ship was built back when land still existed, an age when human civilization was at its peak, capable of building vessels even larger than this one. But even at the height of their power, humanity couldn't stop the ice comet from coming. It collided with the moon, and endless debris rained down across the entire planet. 70 years of unrelenting rain followed. Sea levels rose without mercy. Land sank piece by piece until the earth was swallowed whole. With nowhere left to go, the survivors lashed their ships together. Hoping one day to return to land, they built this drifting home and called it B-League. One of the workers shakes his head. This ship is older than Hulong himself. Without constant upkeep, it would sink in no time. Hearing all of this, something stirs deep inside me. It's people like them, quietly, stubbornly keeping this ship alive, that allow me and Rita to live here in peace. The thought sets something burning inside me. I want to work just as hard hard to keep B-League afloat forever. And more than anything, I want to truly belong here, to protect this place we now call home. That way Rita and I can stay and keep living here together. But just as I'm lost in that dream, a strange sound shatters the quiet. My chest tightens. I look down. Water is already washing over my feet. A pipe bursts without warning. I spin around, demanding to know what's happening. One of the men shouts in a panic, "Backflow!" He reports to Hulong. Drainage pipe number 3 is blocked, and water is flooding in fast. Hulong gives the order immediately. Everyone move to clear the blockage, now. But pipe number 3 is buried too deep. They'll have to tear out the surrounding pipes first, and the moment they do, even more water will pour in. Hulong curses them for messing with the pipes, but in truth, the crew was just doing routine maintenance. Then it gets worse. Another pipe overhead gives way. A high-pressure jet of water explodes outward. 3 men are knocked off their feet instantly. Water surges across the floor, spreading fast. Within moments, it's up to everyone's shins. The color drains from Hulong's face. This is bad, and getting worse by the second. Meanwhile, Rita is carefully watering the flower seeds the old woman gave them, hoping they'll take root and bloom soon. She smiles to herself, imagining how surprised Boda will be when he comes home to a clean and tidy room. Then, urgent knocking at the door. Rita assumes it's Boda and calls out his name with a grin. She swings the door open, ready to ask how the job went, but the face staring back at her is a stranger's. A man in uniform greets her calmly. He recognizes her immediately. He says she looks just like her mother. Rita freezes, then asks breathlessly if he knew her mother. The man smiles, a slow, deliberate smile, and says he knew both her parents very well. He calls himself an old friend of her father. Back below deck, the freezing seawater has climbed to everyone's waists. I watch the water rise and my gut twists. If it reaches the engine room, the entire ship is done for. Hulong's expression goes stone cold. He calls for the gear. He's going in himself to check pipe number 3. The other workers erupt in protest. Hulong is too big. He'll never fit through those pipes. Hulong doesn't care. He roars at them to shove him in. I stand there for a moment, silent. Then I grab the flashlight right out of his hand. I tell him, "I'll do it." The workers stare at me in disbelief. Hulong immediately snaps at me to stop being an idiot. He looks me dead in the eye. People die doing this. A rookie doesn't stand a chance. I ignore them. I look around the room and ask, "Is there anyone else here who can fit in those pipes?" Nobody answers. I take a deep breath and swim straight for the drainage pipe without looking back. Hulong panics. He shouts my name, lunging forward to stop me. The others erupt in chaos, screaming that I'm out of my mind. But I'm already inside. I push through the dark, telling myself to follow the pipes. It has to be here somewhere. And then, I find an opening. But when I see what's in front of me, my heart drops. There are pipes everywhere. I have no idea which one is number 3. I don't even know which direction to go. Worse, some of the pipe joints have completely snapped apart. Outside, the crew watches the broken pipes and panics, terrified I'm lost in there, slowly running out of air. Everyone freezes. They look at each other. Nobody has a single idea. Hulong forces himself to stay calm and shouts for everyone to regroup. Inside the pipes, I stare at the maze of openings, and my nerve starts to crack. Maybe I should just turn back. Maybe there's nothing I can actually do. And then, just as I'm about to give up, the pipe beneath me begins to shake violently. Outside, the crew figures it out. They throw everything they have into hammering pipe number 3. They bang and shout my name, guiding me, one beat at a time. I follow the sound and the vibration, and something warm rises in my chest. They're guiding me home. Then ahead, an air pocket. I push with everything I have and break through the surface. I gasp, pulling in air like it's the most precious thing in the world, grateful to be alive. But I can't stop. Time is running out. I have to clear that blockage. I dive back under and push faster, feeling my way through the dark. And then I find it. The drainage pipe is completely jammed, packed solid with debris. I grit my teeth and start pulling it out, piece by piece. The last piece gives way, and the pipe is clear. Then, out of nowhere, a shoe comes flying through the water and slams into me. The shock makes me gasp, and seawater floods in. I clamp my mouth shut and hold on, but my lungs are already empty. I can't hold it. My whole body goes weak. My hands lose their grip. The current takes me and sweeps me away, but the water level in the pipe starts to drop. Hulong watches in stunned silence as the water falls. It's actually going down. "Bota did it!" The crew erupts. Everyone is screaming his name, barely able to believe what just happened. Then the cheering stops. Dead silence. Every eye is fixed on the water, waiting for Bota to surface. Hulong stares at the surface, counting the seconds under his breath. 8 minutes pass. No sign of Bota. Hulong's heart sinks. Did he get lost down there? 12 minutes. Underwater, my body has hit its limit. My lungs are screaming. My eyes burn red. I can't hold on. My chest feels like it's about to burst. Is this really where it ends? In these cold, dark pipes? My arms go limp. Darkness creeps in at the edges. 18 minutes. Hulong beats the pipes like a man losing his mind, screaming for Bota to come out. Sighs fill the air. 24 minutes. The others begin telling Hulong to let go. It's over. The wrench drops from Hulong's hand. He stands rigid, mumbling over and over. How did this happen? He can't accept it. He sent that boy in. This is his fault. And then, in the very moment everyone gives up, Bota explodes out of the pipe. With the last of his strength, he drags himself onto solid ground as the crew watches in stunned silence. He collapses and gasps. Desperate, ragged, alive. The mustache guy stares at his watch in disbelief. 30 full minutes. He survived down there for 30 minutes? Hulong can't hold it together any longer. He rushes forward and crushes me in a bear hug. The force of it squeezes the water right out of my lungs. He's laughing and crying at the same time. He genuinely thought Boda was gone. He grabs me and asks, "Did I find an air pocket? Is that how I made it?" I nod weakly. "I stumbled onto an air pocket by luck. That's the only reason I'm here." Hulong shakes his head, half furious, half amazed. The kid's instincts are unreal. The whole crew breathes again. That kind of nerve and quick thinking. It's exactly what Hulong needs on his team. Right then and there, he offers me a spot, a real permanent place on the crew. My eyes light up. I ask, barely daring to believe it, "Does this mean I have a job?" Hulong grins and says yes. Starting today, I'm one of them. The cap guy can't keep his mouth shut, blurts out that they have an opening because Mickey just died. The moment it leaves his lips, every face in the room goes pale. Hulong rushes to smooth it over and tells me to show up first thing tomorrow morning. The crew gathers around, raising their cups. "Welcome to the crew, Boda." Something warm floods through me. This feeling of being accepted, of belonging, it's almost overwhelming. I can't help but think how lucky I am to be here in B-League. Buzzing with excitement, I grab a pile of groceries and head home with a huge smile. A steady job at last. Rita is going to lose her mind when she hears this. I throw the door open, calling Rita's name, barely able to contain myself. But Rita isn't smiling. She sits stiff and silent on the stool, face drained of color. My stomach drops. I call her name. Softer this time. I rush forward. Maybe she's not feeling well. Rita's head snaps up. Her voice breaks as she screams, "Bota, run!" I freeze. I have no idea what's happening. Then a hand shoots out from the side, and I'm slammed into the wall with brutal force. Everything I'm carrying flies across the room. "Got you, Mabota," says Major Daohu. Seeing his own name in that report gave him quite a start, he says. Mabota, firstborn son of Martian. A name he will never forget. The next second, his boot drives into my stomach. He smiles and taunts me. "So Daddy died fighting deep-sea beasts, did he? What a shame," he says, and grabs me by the hair. He had planned to kill Martian himself, because Martian was a traitor to B-League. I go rigid. My father, a traitor? That's impossible. Rita's eyes fill with tears. She lunges forward, clinging to me, calling my name. Major Daohu looks at us with contempt. "Children of a criminal. Welcome home," he says. The words barely land before his boot connects with my head. Then he plants his foot on my face. He snarls. The nerve of us, crawling back here on our own. Rita screams, shaking all over, throwing herself toward me, but a hunter grabs her before she can reach me. I grab his ankle with everything I have and fight back. My father was no criminal. He was a harpoon hunter, a protector. Daohu throws his head back and laughs like I've said something hilarious. The Leviathan Beast Slayer, the legendary 6-star harpoon hunter. Nothing but a bedtime story Martian made up for his kids while drifting at sea. He tells us to listen carefully. What he's about to say is the truth our father never told us. 10 years at sea and not a single person encountered? That doesn't happen. The words hit me. I remember asking my father once, were there other survivors out there? He had smiled and said, there must be others somewhere. The ocean is just too vast. I tremble. I try to speak. We weren't lying, we didn't know. Daohu cuts me off with a cold laugh. Martian wasn't lost. He was hiding, running from B-League, evading capture. I shake my head over and over. This can't be real. None of this can be true. Major Daohu's voice drops to something venomous. 10 years, and he has not forgotten. Not one day. He rips off his glove and thrusts his mechanical hand in our faces. Look, he says. Look at the truth. Martian slaughtered B-League's harpoon hunters. He betrayed every one of his comrades. An unforgivable traitor. My mind goes blank. Did my father actually kill people? Another hunter pins me down. Major Daohu stands over me. I will pay for what my father did. His voice is ice. If I want to blame someone, blame my wretched father. The mechanical hand snaps open. 5 metal claws extend, moving toward me with deadly intent. The claws dig into my face and pierce the skin. A sharp drag across my cheek, and blood runs free. Rita lets out a scream that tears through the room. Stop, stop, stop! The sudden sound freezes everyone. Then the emergency broadcast cuts through. All harpoon hunters to battle stations immediately. Alarms wail. Everyone to their positions now. Someone cries out in terror, "Deep sea beasts!" The 2 other hunters call out urgently for Major Daohu. They have to move now. Daohu seethes. Of all the moments to be interrupted, he swears through clenched teeth. When he gets back, he will make both of us suffer. No mercy. He'll keep us here and make every day a living nightmare. The 3 of them turn and leave. The heavy iron door slams shut. Rita throws herself into my arms, shaking, choking out that she's terrified. My mind races. That man is lethal. We have to get out, right now. Meanwhile, Kana is already relaying urgent intel. The expedition team is under attack by eel-type deep-sea beasts. She gives the order without hesitation. All units move out, no delays. The team moves fast and reaches their positions in moments. They launch into action immediately, deploying the hunters up to the surface. Kana stays focused, directing Bourne to cover the deck. The rest follow her in for a flanking strike. The team answers in unison, fired up and ready to fight. Everyone tightens their grip on their weapons and charges forward. The expedition team is in full panic, the deep-sea beasts closing in fast. The dreadlock guy shouts over the chaos, "Hold on, the hunters are almost here!" At the critical moment, Bourne stops hesitating. He's the first one in. He drives his fist straight through the skull of a deep-sea beast. The force blows clean through it. 1 strike, 2, 3, the same move, over and over, each one lethal. 5 deep-sea beasts down. Boren's power is on a different level entirely. The crowd cries out, Boren and Kana's team made it in time. Thanks to Boren, everyone is pulled back from the edge. But Boren's face stays hard. He roars for everyone to fall back. This isn't over. He glances at his shoulder. Something strange. A thick, viscous slime. He stares at it, puzzled. Kana keeps firing harpoons at full speed, but wherever the harpoons hit, slime pours out instead of stopping the creature. Boren figures it out in an instant and shouts, "The harpoons are useless!" The deep-sea beasts have shifted tactics. They're fighting back with the slime. Their target is the entire ship. They're trying to encase it in slime and drag it down. Boren screams for everyone to dodge. One hit from that slime and you're dead. One bald refugee doesn't move fast enough. The slime hits him and locks him in place instantly. A deep-sea beast opens its massive jaws, and he's a second away from being swallowed whole. Kana arrives at the last possible second. Her blade sweeps in a high-speed spinning slash. Every deep-sea beast near the ship is cut clean in two. Kana shouts that she'll draw them away. Boren, get the crew to safety now! She pulls out the pheromone agent made by Dr. Freud, a chemical compound that triggers responses between creatures. She has no idea if it will actually work, but she crushes the vial anyway. The remaining deep-sea beasts catch the scent of the pheromone. Their reaction is immediate and violent. They tear themselves free from the slime and turn. Kana exhales. It worked. They're responding. Outside on B-League's hull, a sewer hatch flies open. I haul Rita out through the pipes, using the chaos as cover. Rita screams. I tell her not to look down, unless she wants her legs to give out. We're both shaking, inching our way along the narrow outer pipes. I reach the deck first and stretch my hand back, grab my arm and don't let go. Rita throws herself at me and refuses to let go. I gently remind her that she can let go now. Then a wave of cheering erupts around us. The whole crowd is shouting Kana's name. Rita blinks. Wait, isn't that Kana? The one who saved us before? I pull Rita to the railing and look down, trying to see what's happening. The sight below stops my heart. Kana is being chased by a massive swarm of deep-sea beasts. She's drawing them all, running straight into the horde. My chest tightens. Kana is calculating in her head, just a little further, almost at the target zone. Then a beast lunges, jaws wide open, about to swallow her whole. Now, Kana seizes the moment and calls the strike. At her command, fire rounds are launched, streaking toward the beasts. Flames explode outward, engulfing the swarm in searing heat. So this is what a 3-star harpoon hunter can do. I can't speak. I can barely breathe. Boren mutters beside me. Not a merciful bone in that woman's body. The expedition members cry out their thanks. Kana has saved them all again. All of B-League erupts in cheers for this warrior. A fighter who battles deep-sea beasts to the last breath, protecting every soul on this ship. This is what it means to be a harpoon hunter, protecting everything through sheer power. But Daoho's words start echoing in my head, louder and louder. Is my father actually a killer or a warrior? Who was he really, and which version of him is the truth? But there's no time to dwell on it. I hold Rita close, completely lost. Where do we go from here? Major Daoho returns to find the room empty. The fury that hits him is instant and total. He can't believe it. Those 2 kids crawled out through the sewer? The humiliation hits him like a blow. He's barely holding it together. He gives the order immediately. Find them. Bring them back, dead or alive. I pull Rita through the crowd, helpless and lost. Where can we even run? I keep Rita close and push deeper into the crowd, using the chaos to hide. Then sounds of pursuit erupt behind us. Whispers spread fast around us. Harpoon hunters are sweeping the entire ship. My stomach drops. A full manhunt. For us. I don't dare slow down. I grab Rita and pick up the pace. One thought repeating in my head. We have to hide, and we cannot be found. I'm frantically trying to figure out where to go. And then Rita quietly says her hand hurts. B-League is overwhelmingly vast. My mind is too full of plans and panic. I don't hear her. On this enormous ship, there isn't a single safe place for us. And then, in the chaos, we walk straight into a harpoon hunter patrol. My heart seizes. I spin us around, trying to look like we just happened to be passing through. I hiss at Rita to walk naturally, stop moving both arms and legs on the same side. But the hunter shouts for us to stop anyway. He orders us over. No room for argument in his tone. He tells us to come with them. Now. Then something catches my eye. A few steps away, an elderly woman is on her knees begging, saying illness kept her from paying taxes. Her voice stops me cold. I recognize her immediately. This is the old woman who gave us those flower seeds. People around us murmur, 3 months without paying. She's about to be exiled. I grab the nearest person and ask, what does exile actually mean here? A woman beside me explains quietly, they throw you overboard, to the deep-sea beasts. It's a death sentence. Then a man steps forward, willing to pay the old woman's taxes himself. He can't stand to watch her die. He pleads with the hunter, just this once, let her go. The crowd begins to murmur in agreement. The hunters didn't expect this. The pushback has them flustered. Then a cold voice cuts through the noise. What's all this commotion? I sneak a glance. The moment I see the face, my blood goes cold. I yank Rita behind the nearest bystander. It's him, the man who came for us, Major Daohu. He turns his cold gaze on the man who stepped forward and asks if he intends to pay on the old woman's behalf. The man's courage crumbles under that stare. He nods, trembling. trembling. Dao Ho's voice sharpens immediately. Is he openly defying B-League law? He could overlook it this time, but who pays next month? And the month after that? Is he personally going to be responsible indefinitely? The man has no answer. He goes silent. If this ship fills up with people who can't carry their own weight, how does B-League stay afloat? He turns on the whole crowd and demands, who here is willing to take responsibility? The crowd that was buzzing a moment ago falls completely silent. My father's words hit me out of nowhere. Harpoon hunters are heroes, protectors of the village. Their purpose is to fight the deep sea beasts and keep everyone safe. But the scene in front of me tells a very different story. These hunters don't care if the poor live or die, and my father was once one of them. The question eats at me. What kind of hunter was he really? In my heart, he has always been gentle, kind, a genuinely good man. Then the hunter grabs the old woman by the arm and hauls her up roughly. She breaks down sobbing. Her cries cut straight through me. Dao Ho simply warns the crowd in a flat voice. Do not challenge B-League law. Everyone here survives because B-League allows it. The rules exist to protect this place, and that is why the harpoon hunters exist. He gives the order, take her away. Something snaps inside me. I shout, let her go. Stop talking like that. Dao Ho turns. His eyes light up in a way that makes my skin crawl. The old woman looks at me in alarm and begs me to back away. Don't do this. I ignore her. I raise my voice and say, my father told me harpoon hunters are warriors who protect the sea. They're supposed to protect everyone, heroes fighting out on the open water. But Major Dao Ho beats people, arrests the innocent, and is about to throw an old woman into the sea. Someone this brutal and cold-blooded doesn't deserve to call himself a harpoon hunter. Dao Ho's composure shatters. He swings and slaps me hard across the face. He roars, how dare I run my mouth at him? How dare I challenge his authority? He is a harpoon hunter sworn to this ship, and I'm spitting on everything that means. Rage takes over. He kicks me, again and again. I refuse to let go. I grab his leg and hold on with everything I have. I shout, the real protectors of this ship are not the harpoon hunters. I've seen it with my own eyes. This ship stays afloat because every single person on board works, really works, because people look out for each other. That is what keeps this ship moving. So it's not B-League that protects everyone. The real protectors are every ordinary person on this ship, fighting just to live, hiding inside and thinking you own everything. That's not protecting anything. Dao Ho's face twists with pure rage. He snarls, this kid doesn't know his place. His boot comes down on my head. Blood splatters, just like a traitor's offspring, born to stir up trouble. I scream through the pain. My father was a good man. He was never a traitor. Dao Ho grabs me by the collar and roars. Martian was a murderer and a rebel. That is accepted fact. The people around us stare in shock. They can't believe this boy is Martian's son. Rita sees what's happening and rushes forward, grabbing Dao Ho's arm, screaming at him to let me go. Dao Ho, furious, flings Rita away without a second thought. I watch Rita hit the ground, and something in me ignites. I seize his wrist with both hands and throw him, with every ounce of strength left in my body, and Major Dao Ho goes flying. The entire crowd freezes. Nobody can believe what they just saw. Dao Ho hits the ground hard. Someone pulls him up. His eyes when he looks at me are pure venom. He pronounces the charges immediately. Resisting a hunter, violent assault. His expression goes ice cold as he draws his weapon and chambers around. He is going to carry out the sentence right here, right now. I didn't think he'd actually do it. My whole body shakes. Dao Ho says the word without emotion. Execution. His finger pulls the trigger. The bullet comes for me. I stand frozen. My mind goes blank. And in that razor-thin moment between life and death, Kana arrives, her blade sweeping up to deflect the bullet. Kana leaps to her feet, throwing herself in front of me and Rita. Everyone freezes the moment they see who it is. The other two harpoon hunters stare in disbelief, demanding to know if Kana has lost her mind. Major Dao Ho's face twists with menace. He barks at her. How dare she obstruct a superior officer in the line of duty? Kana holds his gaze without flinching. These children are innocent, she says. Plain and simple, Dao Ho sneers. So she wants to babysit refugees now? Kana doesn't answer. She just stands her ground. One look at her face and Dao Ho knows. She's known who we are all along. In the next instant he lunges, his blade slashing down at Kana with full force. Kana reacts in a flash, parrying the blow dead on. Dao Ho lets out a contemptuous grunt. Then Kana explodes into motion, spinning at full speed, blade extended. The razor arc cuts toward him without mercy. Dao Ho throws up his mechanical arm just in time, but a gash opens across his cheek, blood already seeping out. The pain tips him over the edge. They clash instantly, blades crossing in the tight confines of the cabin. Before long, Dao Ho starts to tire, slowly losing ground. Kana winds up and delivers a devastating blow. The impact sends Dao Ho staggering back several meters. He stares at the deep gashes across his mechanical arm and snarls. So her true colors finally show. He charges her with treason on the spot and declares she will be executed right here, right now. The harpoon hunters close in around her, every blade leveled at Kana. Dao Ho smirks, certain that no matter how skilled she is, she can't take them all. Kana's expression doesn't change. She raises her gun. Dao Ho's confidence vanishes. The moment she pulls the trigger, he throws himself down in a panic, desperately trying to dodge. He walks right into her trap. The shots tear straight into the electrical panel across the cabin. Sparks burst and crackle in every direction. The entire cabin goes pitch black. Daohu realizes he's been played and curses furiously into the dark. He frantically orders every exit sealed immediately. Dull thuds ring out one after another in the darkness as hunters drop without a sound. Daohu is losing it, screaming into the void. "Where is she?" The hunter posted at the door raises his blade and shouts a warning. Kana glides up in silence and drives her knee straight into his face. He drops like a stone. Kana hisses at us. "Stay right behind her if we want to live." Rita, the old woman, and I scramble to follow, hearts hammering in our throats. The pursuers pick up our trail fast. They come charging at us, shouting. Kana extends one leg and sweeps the oncoming hunters down one by one. Then she draws her blade and knocks the rest out cold. She catches the worry on my face. She tells us quietly, she only used the flat of the blade. They'll live. But Daohu is already back on our heels. He orders his men to grab their spear guns. No one escapes. At that critical moment, Li Jiho cracks open a door and waves Kana over. I blink in surprise. It's the familiar face of the low-ranking civil worker. Li Jiho ushers us in, exasperated. Kana has no idea the trouble she's caused. Kana asks him to look after the old woman and tells him where to find the money in her drawer. The old woman looks at Kana, eyes filled with tears, and thanks her with all her heart. Then she slowly turns to me. She says, with quiet relief, that Martian's children are still alive. The two men lower their voices. Martian saved their lives years ago. Li Jiho quickly reminds them. On this ship, Martian's name is forbidden. But being able to help his children, that means everything to them. I'm about to say something, when a hunter's sharp cry tears through the air. Over there! Kana grabs me and Rita and bolts without a second thought. Major Daohu gives chase, shouting at Kana to stop. He raises his gun and chambers a round, aiming straight at her back. He snarls through clenched teeth. "Kana, you're dead!" Then a heap of scrap metal crashes down out of nowhere, blocking his line of sight completely. The operator throws up his hands in feigned panic, claiming it was an accident. Daohu roars at him to clear it. Now! The operator nods along, playing along. Watching strangers risk themselves for us, I feel something warm rise in my chest. No one ever hated my father. All this time, people have been quietly holding him in their hearts. And Kana, she has never stopped fighting for us. Then in an instant, a hail of harpoons rains down from above. I scream, certain the three of us are finished. Kana throws herself over us. Every harpoon finds her instead. The hunters erupt in cheers. They've got her. She's here. I rush to check her wounds. She waves me off. Stop making a fuss. Tears streaming down my face, I ask her why. Why go this far for us? I keep saying sorry, over and over. She turns it around, tells me there's nothing to be sorry for. She's just repaying a debt, one she's carried for a long time. This world has always been survival of the fittest. If you want to live, if you want to protect the people who matter, you have to get stronger. I nod through my tears and carve every word into my heart. Then footsteps close in from behind. Kana spins around to spite her wounds, putting herself between us once more. Daohu watches with cold contempt. Pathetic, he thinks. He taunts her. On a ship, Kana. Where exactly do you think you're going? Kana tightens her grip on the blade. She has been training every day, pushing herself to the limit. But even now, she isn't sure if she's strong enough. Strong enough to lay down her life and keep Martian's children safe. As Kana slowly rises before them, something in her presence makes every hunter's skin crawl. Daohu stares at her, this girl who simply refuses to break. He presses down his rage and demands to know if she intends to defy him forever. Kana ignores him entirely and turns to me and Rita. She points to the crane towering behind us. Below it, a boat sits on the water. That's our only way out. She tells us to get on the boat. She'll catch up. Rita and I answer as one. We believe her. Without hesitation, Kana says go. I grab Rita's hand and we run. Daohu sees us and screams at the hunters above to open fire. They fire immediately. Kana snaps her wrist and hurls her short blade upward. It intercepts the harpoons mid-air with precision. The knife buries into the floorboards above, throwing the hunters off their rhythm. In the same motion, Kana vaults up onto the upper deck. She wrenches the blade free with a backhand pull. One casual swing, and the solid deck shatters beneath it. Both hunters above lose their footing and plummet, screaming. Daohu sees her coming. He rallies his men in the name of law and order, and commands them to execute the traitor on the spot. Kana snatches up a broken plank. She holds it across her body like a shield. Harpoon after harpoon hammers into the wood, and not one reaches her. When they run dry, she advances, step by step, plank raised, closing in. Daohu draws his blade and charges. He hacks at her with everything he has. The plank splits in two, and Kana is gone. No one sees it coming. Kana is already above him, airborne. She brings the blade down, hard. Daohu barely gets his arm up. The blade buries deep into his mechanical arm. The surrounding hunters close in, blades out, moving to overwhelm her together. Against Kana, they don't stand a chance. Her strikes are clean and decisive. Every single blow takes down another opponent. The hunter's faces shift. Raw fear sets in. This woman doesn't fight like a person. Daohu looks at the few still moving on the ground. He lets out a mocking laugh. She was still using the flat of the blade. That's why she can't finish anything. Is that so? Kana says quietly. She turns the blade in her hand, sharp edge out, facing them all. Then she won't hold back anymore. She'll treat them exactly like deep-sea beasts. Daohu roars, eyes locked on her. He'll see just how long that lasts, and he surges forward. His blade comes down at full force. Kana crosses her twin blades to block. The collision of metal rings out sharp enough to rattle your teeth. Days of relentless fighting, and the wounds from moments ago. Her body is running on empty. Daohu spots the opening and brings down a crushing blow. Kana is driven back. He watches her struggle to stay stay upright. Kana, what's wrong? Getting tired? His attacks keep accelerating. Kana bites through the pain and explodes forward. Her twin blades blur into motion. 4 slashes in a single breath. 8 deep gashes open across him at once, blood pouring in torrents. Daoho coughs up a mouthful of blood. Kana's voice is ice cold. Get up! With strength like his, he can't protect anything that matters. She throws his own words right back at him. Daoho groans through the agony, body shaking, but he won't fall. He throws everything he has left into one final charge. Kana reacts instantly, raising her blade, and barely holds. I finally reach the crane with Rita, the one Kana told us about. Rita peers over the edge. There's the boat sitting on the water below. Then 2 hunters step out and block our path. They recognize us immediately. They order us to surrender and stop making this harder than it needs to be. My chest tightens. I grit my teeth and pull Rita tight against me. Without a moment's hesitation, I leap, taking Rita with me off the edge. The 2 hunters stare, jaw dropped. They reach out on instinct, trying to grab us, but the crane operator swings in at the last second and catches us both. The hunters watch us slip away and seethe. I breathe out hard. We made it. Rita is still shaking. The hunters curse us out. Slippery as rats and twice as annoying. One orders the other to get up there and kill the crane. Rita and I look at each other and pull faces at them. The next second, the hunter vaults up onto the crane. Neither of us is laughing anymore. His eyes are cold. He raises his blade and walks toward us, slow and deliberate. Don't blame me. I'm just following orders. Back with Kana, the fight is finally over. Hunters lie strewn across the floor, battered and broken. Daoho's mechanical arm hangs shattered and bent. He has nothing left. He slumps against the wall, barely breathing. Kana stands where she is, looking down at him with empty eyes. Daoho looks up at her with a bitter smile. Was she always planning to kill him? Kana doesn't give him even one word. Then Daoho starts to laugh, unhinged, spiraling. He spits venom. Ungrateful wretch. He always despised people from refugee stock. He never should have shown them mercy. He curses his own compassion for raising traitors like Kana and Martian. These seeds of rebellion. They're the cause of everything. But Kana made one mistake. She hid those children a step too early. He had already found the boat she stashed. He posted men there in advance. Every child Martian was protecting. They're all dead now. Every last seed of rebellion wiped out. The words hit like a thunderclap. Kana's pupils shrink. She can't move. She forgets everything else and sprints toward the children. Wild. Desperate. Daoho watches her panicked figure recede and laughs louder, calling after her. As she runs, she screams their names inside her head. Bota. Rita. Meanwhile, I barely dodge the hunter's blade. He can't believe it. He never expected a kid to evade him. He comes again immediately, slashing from the side. I duck, barely. I grab the fishing net hanging from the crane and yank. He slips and loses his footing, and goes straight into the freezing sea. He thrashes and curses from the water, swearing he'll make me pay for this. Then a deep-sea beast comes streaking toward him through the water. The hunter is gone in an instant. Not even a scream makes it to the surface. But the deep-sea beast doesn't leave. It circles the boat, slow and patient. I stare at the shadow below, frozen, no idea what to do. Then Kana drops down from above. She sees us, both of us unhurt. Something in her finally unclenches. I point down frantically and tell her about the deep-sea beast beneath us. She says she'll handle it, stay close. But the moment we're about to board, a hidden launcher on the hull clicks open. A fire round screams toward us. It slams straight into Kana's boat. The wooden hull ignites instantly, consumed by fire. The heat surges so violently we're forced to the ground just to breathe. Daoho's laughter rolls in from a distance, dripping with cruelty and triumph. He gloats. There's nowhere left to run. We're his. Kana's eyes blaze. She bites out his name, barely containing the fury. Daoho curls his lip in disgust. He's always hated the sight of her. Before the words are even finished, hunters emerge, armed, every barrel aimed at us. Daoho gives the order, cold, final. At the last possible moment, Kana pulls us both into her arms. She takes every hit with her back. The pain overwhelms her. She can't hold on. And we fall, all 3 of us, off the ship, into the sea. Daoho watches from the deck. He's certain the deep-sea beast will take care of the bodies. Those dangerous seeds of chaos, finally wiped from the world for good. But the blood in the water draws something in. A dark shape, moving fast, straight toward the ship. And as it gets closer, it's clear. That's no beast. It's a stealth submarine. Kana's crew aboard can barely believe it. Even the burning boat was intentional. This was all her plan. Boren confirms it. The only way to fool everyone was to make them believe Kana and the children were dead. And just like that, Kana and the 2 of us vanish from the Alliance without a trace. Blink of an eye. At Oasis Harbor, a small patch of land still rises above the water. This modest stretch of ground falls under the jurisdiction of the HK Alliance. Martian Slaughterer Sword stands alone, driven into the rocks at the water's edge. A hand reaches out and wrenches it free. It's me, 17 years old. Today is the day of my dive trial. I grip my harpoon, hold my breath, and start going down. I run the numbers in my head. This is way too deep. Nobody's going to buy it. This depth should do. Just enough to scrape through. Then something catches my eye. Proof of how far down I've gone. I swim over and start prying off the number plate from room 301 as evidence. Halfway through, I turn and spot a plump fish drifting right there. Might as well grab dinner while I'm down here. I raise my harpoon. Then something dark slides out of a submerged toilet behind me. It moves fast, shooting straight at me. A massive sea serpent, right behind me. A venomous sea serpent, the lethal kind. Every muscle in my body locks up. The serpent lunges with its jaws wide open. I jerk my head down on instinct. The serpent snaps its jaws shut, right around the fish I had my eye on. I float there, heart hammering, barely holding it together. That was almost me. Those fangs gleam cold in the water. Just looking at them makes my skin go numb. One scratch from those things, and I'm done. Then the fear fades, and something else kicks in. I draw my blade. I face the serpent and drop into a fighting stance. The serpent is furious. It comes at me like it's lost its mind. The fight erupts in an instant. The water turns red. Up on the boat, red hair guy is pacing. I've been under way too long. Something must have gone wrong. Just as the worry peaks, I burst through the surface. Everyone exhales. Red hair guy can't help himself. He grumbles that I took forever. Then I reach the side of the boat, and they see what's behind me. One of the men recognizes it immediately. That's the serpent that bit his son. I just solved a problem nobody else could. A rush of pride hits me. Now they see what I can do. Red hair guy cuts me off before I can enjoy it. This was a dive trial, not a hunting test. I grin and tell him about the room 301 number plate. Proof of depth. The words leave my mouth, and my face falls. I left it down there. In all the chaos, I forgot it. Red hair guy explodes. Test failed. He calls me an idiot. The awkward silence is shattered by a shout across the water. Someone screaming at the top of their lungs. They found the great legacy. Red hair guy's whole demeanor flips. He drops the subject entirely and rushes over to see. Word spreads fast. Yak's team found it. Everyone swarms in. I stand off to the side, completely lost. What even is the great legacy? Before long, the thing is hauled up onto the deck. I can't help it. That's just an old box. Red hair guy looks at me like I'm hopeless. That box is priceless. It's an emergency supply cache, left behind by humanity before the world went under. The box pours out medicines, clothing, and supplies, all perfectly preserved. 100 years ago, someone left this for people like us. A gift across time. The crowd goes wild. Top-grade supplies. Unbelievable. Then the crowd parts. The village chief is coming through. The village chief congratulates Yak personally, calling him a true explorer. Yak is overwhelmed, pouring out his thanks. The whole crowd erupts. The legend of the ruins. It was real all along. The great legacy truly exists, buried deep within the ruins. That ignites the crowd. People are screaming. They want to dive deeper, find more. I'm the only one still standing there confused, not sure what all the fuss is about. Once the supplies are sorted, the village chief turns to me and asks how the dive trial went. Red hair guy jumps in before I can speak. Too weak. Failed. End of story. I push back, insisting I made it to room 301. He ignores me completely and tells the chief he'll whip me into shape. The village chief nods, satisfied. Then I look forward to seeing it. His eyes settle on me. He says I've grown a lot since the day I first arrived here. I thank him sincerely for taking us in. He smiles warmly. They never turn away outsiders. Explorers are always welcome here, but they don't keep people who don't pull their weight. He encourages me. Study hard, find the legendary treasure, earn my place. Oasis Harbor is built on the bones of an ancient city. Collapsed skyscrapers piled into an island. Buried deep in the sunken ruins are relics of the old world, recovered through shafts dug straight down into the dark. The fallen building walls rise like fortress barriers, sheltering the village on all sides. And deep-sea beasts almost never come near this place. Ever since word spread about the great legacy, refugees from all across the sea have been flooding in. We slipped in with them. This place welcomes outsiders. No one is turned away. In fact, they're glad to have us. A far cry from that man who treated refugees as less than human, and from the B-League, who guarded their ships like fortresses. The difference couldn't be more stark. Red hair guy gets that dreamy look on his face. Find the right relic, like Yak did, and you can strike it rich overnight. A diver's paradise, he calls it. But I have other plans. I'm not spending my life as a diver. Red hair guy frowns. Then what do you want to be? I look him straight in the eye. A harpoon hunter, he scoffs. There's not a deep-sea beast in sight around here. That's a career path straight to starvation. He shakes his head, exasperated. Even the security corps can barely make ends meet around here. He pauses. He remembers a kid like me, a long time ago. Same dream. The name he thinks was Boren. That name hits me like a jolt. So Boren came from here. As we near home, I glance over my shoulder and ask Ma'u why he's still following me. Ma'u grins and suggests we toast to my spectacular failure. Then a soft voice drifts out. Bota, Rita. Ma'u's whole face changes. He beams. Rita, how are you? I ask right away where Kana is. Rita says she hasn't seen her in a while. Ma'u's face drops. Rita looks at him and smirks. You came to see Kana, didn't you? I head back to the room. There's a cup of tea on the table, still steaming. I go sharp immediately. I grab the stick beside me. Then I drop my head, and just barely dodge the strike coming out of nowhere. Kana's voice comes from behind me, carrying a hint of approval. Not bad. Your reaction speed has improved. Just a little. I start to say something, but Kana doesn't stop. She's already on me, launching into a full combo. Between strikes, she asks with mild displeasure whether I plan to just block forever. I shout, Kana, wait, we have a guest. The door flies open. Ma'u barges in, calling out, Kana, I heard your voice. Kana clocks the situation instantly and plays the victim on the spot, crouching down, looking helpless. She looks up at him pitifully. Ma'u, perfect timing. Ma'u's eyes land on the stick in my hand. His expression turns dangerous. He swings at me without a word. word. How dare you lay a hand on her? I misjudged you. Who exactly looks helpless here? I protest at full volume. Then I catch Kana out of the corner of my eye, pressing a finger to her lips. I shut up. Mao keeps ranting about teaching me a lesson. There's nothing I can do. I just let him shake my head back and forth like a rag doll. Elsewhere, the dive team has just broken through a small opening. They're about to explore a section no one has ever reached, hoping to find a legacy cache of their own. But all they're turning up is junk. Then a steel rod drives through one of the diver's chests without warning. His partner doesn't even have time to react. The same thing happens to him. The bodies are dragged into the darkness of the abandoned building below. Deep in the night, a violent storm rolls in. Thunder and lightning cracking loud enough to shake the walls. Rita jolts awake from a dead sleep. Kana murmurs gently, "Don't be scared. The storm will pass." Rita is too frightened. She wants to stay close to Kana. Kana quietly points out that there isn't much space. Rita doesn't care. She climbs right in and holds on to Kana. Just this is enough. She talks about nights like this when they were small, their father holding them just like this during the storms. I cut in. I tell her to stop bringing up Dad. The words hang there. A quiet grief settles over all of us. Rita holds Kana tighter, as if afraid the warmth might slip away. To her, Kana is family. Eating together, sleeping in the same room. That's what family means. That word, family, pulls Kana somewhere deep inside herself. She thinks of her own parents, long gone. Since that day, nothing has ever gone back to what it was. She has spent years forcing herself to bury those warm, happy memories. Because every time she lets herself remember, grief floods in and fills her chest. Each time, it hurts so much, she can barely breathe. Until eventually, she had almost forgotten what it felt like to have a family at all. But looking at Rita asleep beside her now, she reaches out and brushes Rita's forehead, the way a real sister would. It's a warmth she hasn't felt in a very long time. The next morning, sunlight slowly burns away the shadow of the night before. I make no effort to hide my feelings. Not another dull training session. I'm ready for real combat. I have been for a while now. Kana hears what I'm not saying. Is it that this place is too peaceful for you? I answer like it's obvious. Kana doesn't follow. What exactly is wrong with peace? Training every day without seeing real results. I want to prove myself. Kana's tone goes serious. Is that all this is? Showing off? The question stops me cold. I don't have an answer. She tells me about harpoon hunters who have thrown their lives away chasing one more star in the hunter's star system. Pride, ego, and greed. In the end, those things destroy a person's judgment completely. And the ones who die first in battle are almost always exactly that kind of person. She doesn't want that to be my story. Then shouting breaks out from the beach. Everyone stares at what's in front of them. Faces pale. What is that thing? Kana and I exchange a glance and push our way to the front. Mao frowns. Looks like it washed in during last night's storm. Kana and I take a closer look, and our expressions drop at the same moment. The creature is covered in human legs. Its surface is slicked with thick yellow slime, grotesque and deeply wrong. Someone sucks in a sharp breath. Did that thing eat people? That one question sends a wave of panic through the crowd. The dive team, they haven't come back. Mao pushes down the fear in his chest. Whatever this is, they can't let it rot in the village. He suggests cutting it apart and dumping it in the sea. Before the words are even finished, Mao grabs his harpoon and drives it in. The creature lets out a shriek. Every leg on its body starts thrashing. The crowd recoils. It's alive. The village chief arrives. Someone warns him to be careful. He looks completely calm. He pulls out the harpoon. Without a moment's hesitation, he drives it back in himself. Blood sprays out in a rush. In moments, the legs stop fighting. They go limp and hang still. I turn to the village chief. Is that a deep-sea beast? He corrects me in a flat, even tone. There are no deep-sea beasts here. This is just a dead fish. I've never seen that look on his face before. I can't move. Beside me, Kana watches him with quiet, careful eyes. At that same moment, Rita is alone on the shore, hanging laundry out to dry. Behind her, beneath the surface, something begins to rise. It draws closer and takes the shape of a person in a diving suit, moving slowly, unnaturally, closing in on Rita from behind. Rita stares at the water, her face frozen in terror. But the figure in the diving suit doesn't even make it to shore. His legs give out, and he collapses to his knees in the shallows. He tears off his helmet. His face comes into view. Rita recognizes him instantly, and screams, "Maoli!" She throws her fear aside and rushes into the water. She's crying, begging him to stay awake, to keep his eyes open. Maoli barely manages to say her name. Then blood comes pouring out. Rita spins around, screaming for help at the top of her lungs. No one comes. She turns and bolts to find help, but Maoli's hand shoots out and grabs her. He uses every last drop of strength he has, and forces out 2 words. Run. Now. There's a deep-sea beast down there. The moment the words leave his lips, he goes limp. He's gone. The news spreads fast. The whole village gathers to decide what to do. Some say 2 people are already dead. Seal the mine shaft now. Others worry. If the shaft is sealed, how does anyone survive? I'm not sure what to believe. Are the deep-sea beasts even real? But Rita has no doubts. She heard every word. The village chief's voice cuts through the noise. Everyone falls silent. Everyone knows Oasis Harbor is supposed to be safe. No deep-sea beasts, no threats. But this situation feels familiar. It echoes something that happened 3 years ago. Back then, someone claimed deep-sea beasts had dragged away several divers. It caused a massive uproar. But the truth came out. The divers had turned on each other, killing for the great legacy. They invented the story and blamed beasts that didn't exist, all for greed. To keep the treasure for themselves, they slaughtered their own people. And just last year, someone spread a false rumor that a deep-sea beast had appeared in B3 zone. It was a lie. Someone just didn't want others coming near. This kind of thing has happened time and again. Every time it sends the villagers into a panic and brings all diving to a halt. So based on all of this, the village chief refuses to take Mowgli's words at face value. Sealing the mine would cut off the entire village's livelihood. I can't stay quiet. A dying man has nothing to gain from lying. He fought his way back with his last breath, maybe just to warn everyone. The village chief didn't expect that from me. Rita speaks up immediately. Mowgli was terrified. Genuinely terrified. She saw it with her own eyes. He told her to run. He said there was a deep-sea beast down below. Other villagers chime in. Mowgli was an honest man. He wouldn't lie. Both sides make sense. Even the village chief looks conflicted. Then Yak steps forward. The explorer volunteers to go down and find out the truth himself. He refuses to let the villagers abandon their ancestors' mine over an unverified rumor. So he'll go down and confirm it. Are the deep-sea beasts real or not? Rita is horrified. If there really is a beast down there, he could die. Yak just smiles. If there's a beast, he'll deal with it. Simple as that. His crew are all professional floating-type harpoon hunters. They know what they're doing. Harpoon hunters. That gets my attention. But none of them have a star mark. One look and I can tell, these people haven't seen much real combat. I keep the thought to myself, but I'm not convinced this crew can be relied on. The village chief, on the other hand, is overjoyed. He trusts Yak's team completely. He asks Yak to go down and confirm whether Oasis Harbor is truly safe. The villagers thank him one after another, grateful someone is willing to step up. I see my chance. I speak up before I can think twice. I'm going too. The village chief frowns. Am I really prepared for what's down there? I tell him I won't slow anyone down. More hands means more strength. Yak agrees without hesitation. One more person to carry gear works for him. Sonia looks me up and down with a grin. Says I'm not bad. Actually pretty cute. She leans in close, whispers that she'll protect me, then licks my cheek. Rita and Kana both freeze, eyes wide. Pa Kung-tae cuts in, telling Sonia to stop messing with the kid. Sonia waves him off. She's completely serious this time. And in her eyes, I am clearly a very attractive man. A woman's intuition never lies. Two villagers step forward at the same moment. They want to come along. One of them says Tai Hu was his closest friend. He's going down to bring his body back. Yak surveys the assembled team and nods. They move out at first light. The next morning, Rita grabs my arm with both hands and begs me not to go. If there really is a beast down there, she can't even bring herself to think about it. My mind is made up. That's exactly why I can't miss this. Rita has no idea what I mean by opportunity. All she knows is that people die down there. Kana speaks up too. Bota, are you really going no matter what? I nod. Kana goes quiet for a moment. Then softly, stay safe. Rita can't believe it. Even Kana isn't trying to stop me. I leave their worry behind and walk out with my head high. Rita turns to Kana, desperate. Why didn't she try to stop him? Kana lets out a quiet sigh. There's no stopping him. She knows that. She watches me walk away. And she knows he's walking towards something bigger, driven by his own will. He's changing, shedding the last of his youth, step by step, becoming someone who can stand on his own. Before long, the team's submarine glides silently down through the dark mine shaft. Sonia pokes my arm, says I'm solid, must work out a lot. Then she leans in and points out how tight the space is, offers to let me sit in her lap. Why does this woman keep coming after me? Is it really because of my looks? One of the team members turns to Yak. He's an outsider. Why risk his neck for this? Yak's expression shifts. He had a daughter once. Lovely girl. She died at 6 years old, taken by the fish plague. If there had been medicine from the Great Legacy, it might have saved her. The Great Legacy matters to every person in this village. That's why no one should ever seal this shaft. Without warning, the submarine stops. Pa Kung-tae calls out, "This is as deep as the sub goes." Everyone sweets up. Now, the team moves fast, pulling on their diving suits. Gear checked. One by one they slip out into the water. Yak gives one firm warning. Stay close or you'll be lost down here. I stare into the hidden deep-sea realm ahead. My pulse is pounding. This is it. The mission is clear. Find the missing divers and determine whether the deep-sea beasts are real. On Yak's signal, the team pushes forward. Back in Oasis Harbor, a villager rushes to the village chief with a report. The team has reached D7 shaft. Another man looks anxious. What if they actually find the forbidden place? What then? The village chief remains completely calm. No need to worry, he says. No one has ever come back alive from that place. After some time exploring, Yak recognizes something on the ground. Tai Hu's crowbar. A heavy feeling settles over the group. Something terrible happened here. Yak divides the team into pairs. He and Pak Gong-tae take the north. Sonia and Bota are paired together, heading west. I tell Sonia to stop hovering. She ignores me completely. The other two team members suggest sweeping the surrounding area first. Yak tells everyone to regroup at this spot in 30 minutes. The zone Sonia and I are covering has almost no visibility. The weight of this place presses down on me, and unease creeps in. The black abyss feels alive, like something is coiled in the dark, ready to lunge. I keep telling myself if something shows up, cut it down. Sonia suddenly notices the slaughtherer's sword in my hand. Her eyes light up. That gas blade is incredible, she says, but it looks so cold and plain. She wants to give me a cute little rabbit charm to hang on it. Then something hits me. I shove Sonia aside and hiss at her to be quiet. I keep my voice low. Does she hear that? Sonia's still grinning. My cute voice? I cut her off hard. Shut up. Listen. She goes still, hears nothing. But I'm certain. This isn't my imagination. I can hear it clearly. The sound of water, dripping. Sonia looks at me like I've lost my mind. Water dripping? Underwater? That's impossible. I don't argue. I just move toward the sound. It's coming from right here. Sonia looks around, puzzled. There's nothing here. Then we both look up at the same time, and we freeze. Above us, a water surface. We don't hesitate, we swim for it hard, we break through, and there it is, droplets falling from above, glittering in the dark. Sonia stares at me, genuinely impressed. I heard that from underwater? Fresh air fills the space. After the suffocating pressure below, it's like surfacing into a different world. And then we see it, a structure, massive and ancient, stretching out before us. Neither of us can speak. Sonia breathes it out in disbelief. Something like this, hidden inside the ocean. Then I look down. My foot catches on something hard. The moment I see what it is, a skull. Ice shoots straight up my spine. My hand trembles as I raise my flashlight. The beam sweeps the floor. Skulls, everywhere. Sonia goes pale. What is this place? A sound behind us. I spin around, sword up. A silhouette, faint, barely moving. Sonia and I drop into combat stance. Who's there? The figure wobbles, shuffles toward us, slow and unsteady. Then I realize, it's a survivor. The next second, he staggers and drops, landing right on top of the skull pile. I rush over. Are you alright? Sonia grabs the radio and calls Yak. Survivor located. She cuts the call and reaches for her kit. His wounds need binding. Now. The survivor reaches out with a trembling hand. Before either of us can react, he grabs my face. The force is staggering. We're both thrown to the ground. I hit the floor hard. What are you doing? Before I can get up, he slams me back into the skulls. Then he snatches the slaughterer sword from beside me. The blade flashes. He swings for my neck. I throw myself sideways. The edge just barely misses. I get my footing back. Why are you doing this? Sonia scrambles up and charges at him, screaming for him to stop, but he's lost his mind. He raises the sword again. No time to think. Sonia lunges forward and splits him clean in two. I stare at what just happened, completely still. Why did it come to this? Sonia thinks he was the one who killed the others. But what comes next is far more disturbing. The two halves are still moving. Then something bursts from the severed body. A wet, pulsing mass of flesh. Two thin tentacles shoot out and wrap around Sonia. She's caught before she can move. The creature opens its maw wide, straight for Sonia. She lets out a piercing scream. I grab my blade and charge. I cut the creature in two, and it still doesn't die. My stomach drops. It's coming at me again. Jaws wide open, it launches itself at me. No time to think. I trigger the slaughterer's sword. Half the blade fires off and drives straight through it, pinning it to the wall. This time it stops. The creature goes still. Dead. Sonia and I finally breathe. Sonia stares at the corpse, still catching her breath. What is that thing? I study it. Something tugs at my memory. Could this be a deep-sea beast? The more I look, the more certain I become. This thing, it's identical to the creature that washed ashore before. A dark thought rises. Does the village chief already know about this? A chill crawls from my feet to the top of my skull. What happened in this place? Back at the Sea Bream restaurant in Oasis Harbor, Rita, in her work clothes, carries a plate of grilled sea bream to a table with a warm smile. Here's your grilled sea bream. Ma'u and his friends light up, thanking her with obvious fondness. Rita tells them to call her if they need anything. The three of them can't help themselves. She's just too adorable, they say. Growing up into such a beautiful young woman, it hits them all at once. Rita has already been here 4 years. Since she arrived, this whole village has softened somehow. But in the kitchen, Kana is a completely different story. She's gutting fish, expressionless. The owner stands there, unable to move, unable to believe what he's seeing. Her movements are mechanical and exact, and faster than him, a man with 20 years behind the counter. Done, she announces, and sets the fish in front of him. He looks at the plate, confused. Where's the fish? Kana says she sliced it. A breeze drifts through. The slices float away like paper. The owner stops her before she can do more damage. Put down the knife. Go help with the grill. He hired her because her knife skills were legendary. He had no idea she had zero instinct for cooking. He figures, surely she can improve with a little practice. Then the grill explodes into a massive fireball. Kana calmly explains that fish tastes better a little charred. The owner lunges for the grill, wailing that she's going to burn it to nothing. Then, through the chaos, a crash. They both look out. Rita has been knocked to the floor, everything she was carrying scattered everywhere. The owner calls out, alarmed. Rita scrambles up, apologizing over and over. People gather around, asking if she's hurt. The man she ran into erupts. He blames her. Clumsy girl got his clothes dirty. He turns on the owner and demands compensation. Someone nearby recognizes him. The guy who showed up yesterday claiming to be a pirate. One look and you know, trouble. The owner and Rita keep bowing, apologizing. Kana steps forward. She'll clean his clothes for him. She kneels down with a cloth and starts wiping his shoes. The man looks down. His eyes drop to Kana's chest. A disgusting look crosses his face. He compliments her face, her figure, then reaches out and tilts her chin up with his finger. He pulls her in, tells her to forget the cleaning, drink with him instead. Do that, and he'll forget all about what Rita did. Something ignites behind Kana's eyes. The owner rushes over, trying desperately to keep things from getting worse. Rita's trembling. She knows Kana. She knows exactly what happens when Kana reaches this point. People get hurt. Ma'o has had enough. He steps in, telling the man to get his filthy hands off her. He demands to know who gave him the right to act like this. The fake pirate explodes. He unloads a string of insults at Ma'o. Ma'o gets right back in his face. Step outside and he'll teach him a lesson. The man stands. He towers over Ma'o by a full head. He looks down at him. What did you just say? You want to die? The crowd erupts. Beat him up, they cheer. Knock him out. Ma'o squares up. If he has to fight, he'll fight. The fake pirate loses it. He's going to turn him into pulp. Kana doesn't say a word. She picks up a fork from the nearest table. One clean motion. She drives it straight into his side. He flinches from the pain, and Ma'o's fist connects with his face. Blood pours from his nose. He gets even angrier. He winds up to hit back. Kana sweeps her leg low and drives it into his groin. He loses his balance completely and crashes backward into a table behind him. Kana stands over him, cold-eyed. She watches him twitch and foam at the mouth. The crowd stares, stunned into silence. Nobody expected it to end this fast. When they finally come to, they erupt in praise for Ma'u. One punch, they say, and that giant went down. Ma'u is riding high, laughing out loud, strutting like a peacock. He goes on and on about his power, his skill, his incredible fighting ability. He turns to share the moment with Kana, ready to promise he'll always protect her. She's gone. The owner says it flatly. She left. Ma'u's performance dies mid-strut. He stands there frozen. Out by the shore, the sea breeze carries its familiar salt. Rita and Kana sit side by side. Rita has her face buried in her hands, crying. She can't stop thinking about Bota, and it's costing her at work. Kana reaches over and gently strokes her hair. Stop worrying, she says softly. Bota will be fine. Rita looks up, tear-streaked and desperate. Are you sure? Really? Kana nods. Bota has pushed himself harder than anyone these past months. Not a single day off, never gave up, even when it was brutal. Even when Kana told him again and again not to let it go to his head. She has watched him every step of the way, and she knows better than anyone what he's become. His talent and his effort. They've taken him far beyond most people. Back in the deep, I've just taken down the creature. My whole body is buzzing. I clench my fist. That rush of having crushed it with my own hands. It fills my chest. I keep saying it to myself. I can do anything I set my mind to. Every hour of training, every sleepless night, none of it was wasted. I can hunt them. Yak and the others arrive. One look at the scene and their eyes go wide. All these bones scattered across the floor. Yak looks at the single dead creature and isn't sure. One of these did all this. Pak Gongtae stares at it. Not quite human, not quite monster. He's disgusted. Then he turns to me, sneering. You actually killed this thing? He even threatens to come at me himself. My temper flares. I fire right back. Sonia cuts in, scolding Pak Gongtae for talking like that to the person who just saved her life. Yak asks Sonia, just the one creature? She's not sure. All she knows is it came from that direction. Yak raises his flashlight and shines it where she points. In the dim beam, a tunnel, deep, dark, and waiting. That's where the creature came from. Yak makes the call without hesitation. Everyone goes in. They file into the tunnel one by one. No one expected anything like this to exist down here. The space is strange and wrong in ways they can't quite name. Everyone wants to know what this place is. Structures this organized don't get built without a reason. The tunnel goes on and on. A quiet alarm sounds in my head. Something dangerous is waiting ahead. I can feel it. Then, a feeling. Something behind me. I spin and sweep my flashlight back. Nothing there. But the feeling stays. Eyes in the dark. I can't shake it. Then someone in the group shouts, over here. He's pointing, voice cracking with excitement. The Great Legacy. Legacy containers everywhere. The team erupts. They're going to be rich. Yak's voice cuts through it. Quiet. Look closer. They do. The lids on many containers are broken. Empty inside. Every one of them. Then another shout from up ahead. The team rushes toward it. Yak stops dead. He can't believe what he's seeing. Crates. Stacked as far as the eye can see. The team is barely holding it together. This is all the Great Legacy. And somehow, after all this time, everything is still intact. Yak recognizes it immediately. This is an ancient shelter, built by their ancestors to survive some great disaster. But there's no one here. Just the supplies, mountains of them, left behind. And against all odds, they're still perfectly preserved. It clicks. All the pieces of the Great Legacy that have surfaced over the years, they came from here. One of the team members loses his composure entirely, screaming that they're going to be rich. But while everyone else is celebrating, something feels wrong to me. I look up. The ceiling is covered in them. My blood runs cold. Everyone calm down. Weapons out. Now. Pak Gongtae looks at me like I've lost it. What are you doing? Then he follows my gaze. His pupils shrink, hanging from the ceiling. Divers. Every single one of them dead, and the creatures are inside them, parasitizing their bodies. These are the missing divers. All of them. The sight hits me like a fist. I've seen something like this before. It's exactly like those masses of fish eggs. The same pattern. This isn't a shelter. It's a nest. Someone starts shaking. Barely coherent, they gasp out, are those the deep-sea beasts? Yak forces himself steady. He tells everyone to look. Carefully. Really look. The divers, with the beasts inside them, are still asleep. If everyone stays completely silent and backs out slowly, they can make it out. The entire team is trembling. No one dares breathe. And then, it happens. One of the team members knocks his weapon against a metal crate. The clang rings out. One of the beasts above stirs. It twitches, then goes still again, sinking back into sleep. Yak exhales. Stay silent, he breathes. Once he's sure it's safe, he waves the team back. Move. Now. I stare at the massive creatures behind us. Something keeps nagging at me. They've been hidden down here all this time. Is that because they end up like this? Buried inside their hosts? Then a dark shape explodes through the water beneath them, diving deep. The team's nerves snap. They open fire into the water. A massive creature erupts from the surface. On its back, an enormous legacy crate. The sheer absurdity and horror of it roots me to the spot. Blondie's legs buckle. He's screaming that everyone is going to die here. Yak shouts him down. Get it together! But Blondie stumbles and steps right onto a tentacle. It snaps tight around his ankle. Cold and wet and relentless. He doesn't even get a chance to fight. He's yanked straight into the water, dragged right to the creature's open jaws. 1 second. That's all it takes. A living person, swallowed whole. I watch it happen. Shock and fury hit at the same time. The creature creature opens its maw again, fangs slick with blood. It's fed, and now it's fully awake. It charges straight at the group. We don't hesitate. Harpoons fly from every direction. A storm of iron drives into its body from every angle. The creature shrieks. Pak Gong-tae and I move together without a word. He grips the spiked mace with both hands and drives it down with everything he has. The impact sends the creature flying back several meters. It lets out a piercing, otherworldly shriek, and that shriek acts as a signal. Every beast in the chamber wakes up. They all start moving toward us. Pak Gong-tae goes white. They're all awake. Yak screams at the same moment. Scatter! Run! The deep-sea beasts drop from the ceiling like rain. The team is surrounded in an instant, slick tentacles writhing in every direction. It makes your skin crawl just to look at them. I stare into the mass of beasts. I keep telling myself, I am not that scrawny little runt anymore, the one who used to run and hide at the first sign of danger. I scream at them. Every last one of them is going to break. A wall of deep-sea beasts closes in, snarling. There are too many. The sight of them makes everyone's skin crawl. Pak Gong-tae swallows his fear and backs up to Sonya. They cover each other. He hits a switch on the mace. 4 blades snap out in an instant. Sonya draws her blade. Then the wave hits. The deep-sea beasts crash toward them like a tide. The stench of them is overwhelming. Pak Gong-tae swings first. The mace carves through the air and connects. One beast is crushed out of shape on impact. Yak and the others raise their harpoon guns and let loose. A hail of spikes punches into the beast horde, like a mass acupuncture session from hell. Every slash from Sonya is clean and lethal. Pak Gong-tae lines up his next swing, and a thick tentacle lashes out. Seizing the mace, he yanks with both arms. It won't budge. More tentacles coil around him, binding his whole body. He fights with everything he has, but the grip only tightens. He's lifted off the ground and shoved headfirst into a beast's mouth. Everyone sees it. No one can get there in time. In the blink of an eye, only his legs are still sticking out. The fangs close in. They're about to go through his skull. Then, a blade punches through the beast's skull from the outside. One clean swing. I split it in two. Pak Gong-tae drops to the ground and barely escapes with his life. Everyone present goes still. I don't stop. I keep moving, sword swinging, cutting down beast after beast. They fall, one after another. These creatures, so terrifying a moment ago, are no match for me at all. The team stares, dumbstruck. This kid is terrifying, but I feel nothing inside. I just want to finish this. Honestly, they're painfully slow, stiff, sluggish. They can't even mount a real counterattack. Compared to Kana in a training session, these things don't even come close. In that time, these monsters had long since started treating humans as nothing more than prey. I slashed through the beasts in front of me like a man possessed, swearing that every single deep-sea beast that has ever harmed a human will be wiped from this world, one by one. My blade moves faster and faster, cutting down every beast that lunges at me. Is this guy seriously a rookie? Pak Gong-tae watches, completely dumbfounded. In moments, every last deep-sea beast is dead. I sheathe my sword without a word. Warm blood drips steadily down my face. The water pool beneath my feet has long turned crimson with the blood of the beasts. Sonya stares at the scene before her, unable to hold back her amazement. I was moving so fast it looked like I was flying. Pak Gong-tae's mind races. He can't figure out who this kid really is. Wielding a gas blade with that kind of ease, only the highest-ranked harpoon hunters can pull that off. One of the crew rushes up and grabs my shoulders, shaking me hard. "Bota, you're insane! Why have you been holding back this whole time?" Yak shouts over the noise. "The path ahead is clear." He urges everyone to move now while the enemy is still in chaos. No time to waste. Get out now. Nobody hesitates. Everyone breaks into a run. But just then the entire cavern erupts in a violent tremor. Sonya's heart seizes. An earthquake? The next second, the rock wall beside them explodes outward, sending shards flying in every direction. Massive, writhing tentacles burst from the shattered wall. Then the beast itself tears through, 5 or 6 times the size of any ordinary deep-sea beast. 3 mouths. 3 eyes. A face so grotesque it defies description. Yak goes dead white. That's Carnot, one of the 7 demons of the sea. This thing. It has to be the mother of all those beasts. A chill runs through my entire body. Carnot, an actual demon of the sea right in front of us. Carnot whips a colossal tentacle straight at the group. It misses. Then Carnot launches itself off the wall. Our faces go pale. We scatter in every direction, pushing ourselves to the limit. Yak screams. Seawater is pouring in through the cracks, fast and furious. He screams at everyone to get their helmets on. Without them, there's no breathing underwater. Within moments, the entire area is swallowed by the rushing sea. The ruins are swept out along with it. Sonya scrambles to dodge, but she's not fast enough. The oxygen tank on her back is smashed to pieces. She watches her tank get swept away by the current, helpless and terrified. The rushing water is about to carry her off entirely. I grab her hand, but Carnot is already closing in. Sonya screams a warning. "Look behind you!" I roar at her to hold on tight. Carnot's tentacle is a split second from crushing us both. At the last possible second, I slam open the pressure release valve on the Slaughterer's sword. The force blasts us forward like a rocket. Sonya and me together, we clear Carnot's strike zone. Carnot thrashes its tentacles in fury and gives chase without missing a beat. A tentacle nearly closes around Sonya's ankle. She's scared out of her mind. She raises her gun and fires back at the monster. Every second feels like her last. She screams at me to go faster. I spot a tunnel ahead and feel a flicker of hope. Just hold on a little longer. Carnod sees it too. Its tentacle suddenly fires a burst of eerie blue liquid. The toxic blue slime hits my oxygen tank dead on. Sonia cries out in horror. What is that stuff? The words barely leave her mouth before the tank starts dissolving, visibly, rapidly. Then it explodes. The shockwave sends us both spinning. We fight through the blast and push hard for the tunnel entrance. A thick tentacle shoots out and seals it shut. We can only watch as the massive beast forces itself into the opening. We back away fast. I let out a shaky breath. Somehow we've shaken the monster. This is Sonia's first time seeing one of the 7 demons of the sea up close. That thing burst out without any warning. It must have been protecting its young. I once saw a deep-sea beast charge straight to the surface in broad daylight, all to defend its nest. Nothing stops them when they're protecting what's theirs. Sonia can't believe it. They actually surface during the day? I cut her off sharply. Her oxygen is almost gone. She needs to stop talking. Despair creeps in. With only the air left in her helmet, she has no idea how long she'll last. I force myself to sound calm. There'll be an air pocket at the end of the tunnel. We're almost there. Just hold on. Sonia gasps and gives a weak nod. I watch the color rising in her face. Her oxygen is nearly gone. We have to move faster, but we don't get far. A cold, motionless body appears in the water ahead. Both of us tense up. We force ourselves to approach, dread rising with every step. One look at the face. It hits us like a lightning strike. It's Yak. Sonia breaks apart. She screams his name with everything she has, but there's no time. I pull her away by force. Sonia is beyond reason. Nothing I say gets through. She keeps crying out for Yak, her breathing growing faster and more desperate. The suffocation hits her all at once. Her body goes limp. She loses consciousness. I shout her name in a panic. No response. Elsewhere, Pak Gongtae drags himself onto dry ground. His body refuses to move. The pain is unbearable. He suspects his ribs are broken. He looks around, completely lost. He has no idea where he is. A sign comes into focus. Residential Zone A. That means nothing to him. Only more confusion. He figures the current must have swept him here, far from anyone he knows. His thoughts drift to Yak and the others. Are they safe? His vision goes dark. Consciousness slips away. At that moment, 2 small figures slowly approach his fallen body. One of them grips a sharp blade tight in their hand. Sonia feels only pressure in her chest. She's hit her limit. She has nothing left. She resigns herself to death. Right here. Right now. Then, she can breathe. Her eyes fly open. She can't believe she's still alive. When she sees it's me in front of her, she freezes, completely stunned. She can't fathom how I saved her with no oxygen tank at all. Meanwhile, at the snapper shop, the owner gently coaxes Rita to eat something and get her strength back. Rita apologizes quietly, ashamed of herself for stumbling again. But the owner waves it off. Mistakes happen at work. It's not her fault. Rita takes a bite of the grilled mackerel and her eyes light up. Kana nods enthusiastically beside her. The owner smiles and says it's his best dish, and his son's favorite. But the moment he thinks of his son, who vanished into the mine shaft and never came back, the warmth in his voice fades. Every time he makes this dish, he half expects the door to swing open, and his son to walk in with a smile. Rita's eyes go red. She's fighting back tears. The owner pushes down his grief and tells Rita to eat up. A full stomach is where strength starts. Rita laughs through her tears and promises she will. She picks up her food and eats with purpose, willing herself to feel better. Back at the mineshaft exit, Sonia and I finally find an air pocket. Sonia is buzzing. She can't believe we made it out alive, but I look at how little air is left in the pocket. We're still in serious trouble. Sonia can't help herself. She starts pressing me with questions. How did I save her down there? Can I actually breathe underwater? I keep it simple. I can just hold my breath longer than most people. Up to 40 minutes. Sonia stares at me. 40 minutes. That's not humanly possible. I can't explain it myself. The ability showed up out of nowhere, and it still doesn't make sense to me. I was trapped in a drainage pipe once, completely cornered with no way out. That's when I first discovered what I could do. Sonia wonders aloud. Maybe I was just born with a special physiology, like a whale or a dolphin. I don't want to dwell on it. We need to move, but the submarine is 20 minutes away, and in Sonia's condition, she'll never make it on her own. I think for a moment, then suggest we share the remaining air in my mask, pass it back and forth bit by bit, and try to get her there. Sonia doesn't hesitate for even a second. She nods. Together we take one last deep breath and plunge back into the cold. The radio operator reports to the village chief. No response from the submarine for 3 hours. The village chief's expression darkens. Looks like it's over. Mustache guy frets. If word gets out that the whole search team is gone, the village will panic. The village chief stays calm. Sure, people will be upset at first, that's unavoidable. But Carnot took 6 people. By past patterns, it'll go quiet for at least 6 months. 6 months is plenty. Plenty of time for people to forget. That's just how people are. No matter how terrifying something is, time wears it away. Meanwhile, deep in the dark water below, I watch Sonia at my side, worry gnawing at me. Her breathing is getting faster. I lean in. You okay? Sonia forces the words out. The air! It's too thin. I tell her to take off her helmet. I'm going to give her some of mine. She pulls it off without a word. Then she reaches out, grabs me, and pulls me close. Before I can react, her lips are on mine. I freeze. My face goes burning hot. But I pull myself together, push down the chaos in my chest, and breathe air into her. Sonia presses close against me. I'm aware of every curve. My heartbeat goes completely out of control. Then Sonia pulls back. All good, she says breezily, flashing an okay sign. All I can do is nod, flustered. Let's go, she calls out cheerfully, but my heart is still going haywire. I can't calm down. The image of that moment keeps replaying in my head. I can't help it. My eyes drift to Sonia's lips. So that's what it feels like. Soft, warm. Lost in that daze, I don't notice Sonia's air has completely run out. Her face is turning purple. I'm still in a trance, one thought going around and around. Wait, was that a kiss? Finally, Sonia hits her limit. Her face is scarlet. She grabs a fistful of my hair, yanks me back toward her, and kisses me hard before I can react. Fast, fierce, desperate for the oxygen in my lungs. The sudden force catches me completely off guard. I manage to protest. Stop! Sonia finally lets go. Then she casually flashes another okay sign, like nothing happened. I stare at her, frustrated and completely at a loss, and shoot her the fiercest glare I can manage. Then a blinding white light flares ahead. It shatters the darkness of the deep. I squint through it, and it's the submarine, the one we've been searching for. On board, Spiky spots us, and his face breaks into stunned relief. He never thought we'd actually make it. Sonia and I look at each other. We're saved. We crash through the hatch and collapse inside. Both of us hit the floor, chests heaving. Spiky says he had a gut feeling and came back to check on us, and thank everything he did. He asks urgently about Pak Gongtae and Yak. I grit my teeth. Yak is dead. Spiky goes rigid. He can't process it. Sonia puts it together. That means Pak Gongtae is the only one unaccounted for. She's on her feet in an instant, grabbing a spare oxygen tank. I'm going back for him. Spiky snaps at her. They have to leave before dark. This place is too dangerous. The priority now is warning the villagers to stay away from this entire zone. Sonia won't hear it. She refuses to leave Pak Gongtae behind. Spiky gets in her face, furious. Did you not just see that thing with your own eyes? That monster has been using the Great Legacy as bait, luring divers to their deaths. It treats this whole village like its personal food supply. He's done arguing. His hands fly across the controls. But just as the submarine powers up and starts to climb, Carnot is right there. Jaws wide open. Terror seizes us all. Spiky reacts instantly, no hesitation. He wrenches the controls hard, spinning the submarine into an emergency turn. But Carnot is faster. Its tentacles strike like a viper and wrap around the hull. The submarine shudders violently. Carnot has us. I stare through the viewport at the monstrous thing outside. A curse rises in my throat. There's nothing I can do. Carnot lifts the entire submarine, slow, deliberate, and tilts it toward those gaping jaws. It was lying in wait the whole time. I grab a spare oxygen tank and scream at everyone to get out now. Spiky launches himself from the pilot seat and scrambles for cover. Carnot feels us moving. It shakes the submarine harder. Then it slams us, submarine and all, straight into the opposite wall. We're thrown everywhere inside, unable to even stay on our feet. Carnot doesn't stop. It keeps ramming us, again and again. Each impact warps and cracks the hull further, until it's completely destroyed, beyond saving. Freezing seawater floods in through every crack. The interior fills in seconds. The relentless battering knocks all three of us out cold. Carnot curls into something like a satisfied, vicious grin. Then it turns and swims away. Back at Oasis Harbor, everything is still peaceful. Rita and Kana have just finished their shift and are packing up to head home. Then Carnot appears. No warning. A shriek tears through the village. Deep sea beast! People scatter in every direction, but Carnot moves with terrifying speed. Buildings are crushed in an instant. Innocent villagers are snatched up. Their screams are heartbreaking, and utterly powerless against this thing. And then they're gone, swallowed whole. The villagers tremble. Oasis Harbor was supposed to be safe. No deep-sea beasts ever. But hiding inside doesn't help. Carnot eyes the people sheltering inside, and it wants them. It rips the buildings up from their foundations, and tips the people in like they're nothing, like snacks from a bag. Elsewhere in the village, others haven't seen it yet, but they hear something wrong in the distance. Rita grabs Kana's arm in a panic. The sentries are firing downward frantically. Then a thick tentacle sweeps in and takes two of them out in one motion. Kana recognizes it in an instant. Deep-sea beast. Carnot turns. Its massive body begins moving in their direction. Ma'u steps forward with his crew, harpoons raised, shouting for everyone to stay calm. He rallies the villagers. Pick up your weapons and defend your home. Kana's stomach drops. She warns him. Those weapons won't do a thing against this. Ma'u ignores her. He tells Kana and Rita to get out of here. The men will handle this. Kana grabs Rita and tells her to run the other way and find somewhere safe to hide. Rita agrees, begging Kana to be careful. Then she turns and runs. Kana stares at the creature closing in and her mind reels. Carnot, one of the 7 demons of the sea. How is it here? Mustache Guy bursts into the village chief's room. There's a deep-sea beast outside, but the village chief is already busy, stuffing his valuables into a bag. He fumbles to hide his things, muttering that this can't be happening. He steps outside, and the sight of Carnot drains the color from his face. How did it get here? Was it the search team? He curses Yak under his breath. What did that man unleash? Fear swallows every other thought. He has one goal, get to higher ground and survive. Mustache Guy pleads with him for orders. The village chief shoves him aside and tells him to get out of the way. If Carnot catches him, it's over. Mustache Guy watches him go, sick to his stomach. He follows, still begging for any kind of order. Meanwhile, Carnot is suffering under the open sun. Horrible blisters erupt across its body. It's clearly in agony, but it refuses to retreat to the sea. Kana can't understand it. The sunlight is burning it alive. Why is it still here? Ma'u leads the villagers in a war cry. They'll defend the village to the last. Kana grabs Ma'u's arm and demands a weapon, the longest blade he has. Ma'u beats his chest and promises to protect her. Leave this to the men. Kana nearly loses it. Those harpoons are useless against this thing, but the crowd shouts over her. Just get to safety! Carnot suddenly wheels around and retreats into the water. Someone spots it and cries out, "Don't let it get away, everyone follow!" At the call, they all hurl their harpoons harpoons into the sea with everything they've got. The harpoons pierce Carnod's flesh. A shriek of pain tears across the water. Wounded, Carnod dives deep. The villagers erupt in celebration, naively convinced they've won. Then Carnod explodes back out of the water. It charges straight at the shore in a frenzy. Kana screams at everyone to scatter, but Carnod is too fast. There's no time. It plows into them. In one moment, half the villagers are swallowed into its jaws. The shoreline becomes a living hell. Blood everywhere. Screaming without end. Ma'u snaps. Eyes red, he roars and charges at the beast. He doesn't even get close before a tentacle hurls him through the air. The tentacle comes back for more. Ma'u manages to dodge, barely, and lets out a shaky breath. Then he turns and sees his brother, impaled right through the stomach. Big Beard barely has a breath left. He reaches for Ma'u with his last scrap of strength, but Ma'u can't move. He's frozen. He can only watch as his friends die in front of him. He looks at Carnod's tentacles, each one draped with the bodies of the dead. The rain of blood falling from above makes his whole body shake beyond control. He finally understands. This is not a wild animal. No ordinary person stands a chance against this demon. Then the tentacle wraps around him too. Carnod opens its jaws. 1 second more and he's gone. Then Kana comes flying out of nowhere, a long spear in hand. She drives it into Carnod's body with everything she has. The pain is overwhelming. Carnod spits Ma'u out hard. Ma'u hits the ground and looks up at who saved him. He goes completely still. It's Kana. Quiet, gentle Kana. Carnod thrashes wildly, trying to fling Kana off. Kana calmly ties a rope to the spear. She uses the recoil to launch herself into the air. She grips the rope tight and rips the spear clean out of Carnod's body. A flick of her wrist and the spear snaps back into her grip. She grips it with both hands and drives it in again with full force. Then she stomps down hard. The solid spear snaps in two beneath her foot. Then she steps back calmly, settling into a safe position like it's nothing. Carnod writhes and screams where it stands, body twisting in agony. Ma'u stands nearby, jaw on the floor. Everyone around them is speechless, frozen by what they just witnessed. Is this really the same Kana they know? Kana's expression doesn't change. She reaches a hand back toward Ma'u. When he doesn't move, she says it plainly. Weapons. Ma'u snaps back to reality and frantically empties everything he's carrying. Here, take them all. Kana takes one look at the short blades and sighs quietly. Useless. The blades are too short. They'll barely scratch Carnod's outer skin, let alone do real damage. But there's no time to go back for better weapons. She gives the order, Ma'u, get everyone to the wreck building now. This creature can move through shadows. Anyone still able to fight, stay in the sunlight. That's where you can hold it off. No one hesitates. They answer in unison and split off in every direction. Carnod grits through the pain and tears the broken spear from its body. It flings the pieces aside. Kana's heart is a storm of mixed feelings. She had come here in hiding, using a false name, sheltering among refugees to escape B-League's hunters. She let herself believe that staying here would keep her safe from them, that she could protect these children, let them grow up somewhere safe, without running. Here in Oasis Harbor, she watched Bota grow. She stayed by Rita's side for 4 years, never leaving. Those days with the children were the only warmth in a life that had otherwise gone dark. Every ordinary, peaceful moment felt like something precious beyond words. She wanted so badly for it to last, and because she clung to that hope, she turned a blind eye to every warning sign. Now, looking back, she feels like a fool. She should have always remembered. Those monsters never truly go away. They're everywhere. Every sea, every shore. There is no ocean that is free of deep-sea beasts. Rage rises in her like a wave. She swears to herself she will wipe every one of these monsters from existence. A harpoon hunter's duty is to protect what's left of humanity from the deep-sea beasts, to defend what little remains, even at the cost of her own life. She had made that vow once. She would fight for humanity until her last breath, and with that burning in her chest, Kana charges straight at Carnod. Inside the wrecked submarine, the three of us finally come to. We drag ourselves out of the hull. With the last of our strength, we push upward through the water toward the mine shaft above. When we break the surface, it finally feels real. We're alive. Sonia breathes out a shaky laugh. She really thought that was the end. I look toward the harbor, and my face falls. What happened here? More than half of Oasis Harbor is rubble. Dust hangs thick in the air. I stare at what's left of the village. I'm calling their names before I even realize it. Kana, Rita, terrified I'll never see them again. A cold, crushing panic locks around my chest. Did Carnod do all of this? That bloodthirsty thing actually came here, into the village. My mind goes blank. I need to find them. But when I see our home, reduced to nothing, I lose it. I scream their names into the ruins. Then I see a child, collapsed over a body, sobbing. People rush over and gently carry the child away. The path ahead is lined with the dead. Rage and grief crash through me and take reason with them. My eyes lock onto something. Those twisted, grotesque tentacles. Carnod, still here. Sonia's face goes tight with fury. It's still here? She raises her gun and tries to get a beat on it. I take it from her. I rack it smoothly and start walking toward the monster, one step at a time with everything I have burning in my chest. Sonia shouts after me, but there's no stopping me now. Inside, I'm screaming, Rita, Kana, please be alive, please. At that very moment, Kana is still fighting Carnod alone. Her blade is chipped and bent, but she keeps slashing, keeps driving it into the beast. In a brief pause, Carnod explodes in fury. It tears up a heavy stone slab to block her strikes. Then its tentacles lash out in every direction, each strike strong enough to crush her to nothing. Kana grits her teeth and ducks behind a broken wall. Carnod creeps closer, wary. Nothing there. The next second, Kana bursts from inside the structure, a sudden full-speed ambush. Carnot has no time to react. The blade bites deep into its flesh. Blood floods out along the edge. She runs along its body as she slashes, carving one long, deep wound through Carnot's side. Carnot screams in pain and swings a massive tentacle at her with a rush of wind. Kana rolls clear, just barely, but her blade is done. Too blunt to cut through anything now. Carnot advances on Kana, jaws spreading wide. Just as she thinks it's over, a storm of metal crashes into Carnot from every direction. Kana spins around. The villagers of Oasis Harbor are standing their ground, fighting for her. Ma'u bellows at the top of his lungs. "Back off, you monster!" Kana's heart seizes. "Get back, it's not safe!" But Carnot is already past fury. It whips its tentacles without hesitation. The villagers on the upper floor are sent flying in an instant. Kana cries out before she can stop herself. "No!" She screams to draw Carnot's attention back to her. Carnot shows no mercy. It raises a tentacle and aims directly at her. 6 jets of toxic blue slime fire at once, all aimed straight at Kana. They hit the ground hard and splatter, covering Kana in the spray. The slime burns. Highly corrosive, her skin ignites with pain on contact. A pained cry escapes her. Her body shakes. Carnot sees her falter and moves in. A brutal tentacle strike aimed right at her. The impact launches her through the air. She crashes through 2 walls before she finally stops. Ma'o sees it happen, and his whole body goes rigid. "Kana!" he screams. Kana lies crumpled in the rubble, too weak to move. She can only watch as Carnot closes in, one step at a time. Her blade is shattered. Her body feels like it's being torn apart. No, she refuses. She will not fall here. The voice inside her is screaming. She forces air into her lungs and wills herself up, pushing, straining. She cannot give up here. Carnot lets out a piercing shriek and lunges. At the last possible second, a harpoon punches straight through Carnot's skull. Everyone spins around and sees it was Boda. Fury in my eyes. "Die, you monster!" I squeeze the trigger again and again, pouring every shot into Carnot without stopping. Carnot is riddled with wounds. The moment I have its attention, I call out to Kana with everything I have. In one motion, I draw the slaughterer sword from my back and throw it toward her. Kana fights through the pain and forces herself up. She grabs the sword and pulls it free.